Look me in the eyes. I'll only show you this once. Not paying attention in class? Sit next to me then. I'm not sure I can phrase a sentence simple enough for you to understand.
No matter how far I go, I never forget the way back home. Home is wherever your family is. Time for bed. Sleep well. Check this out. Watch this area. You're not getting away. Do you hear the snow fall? Snowball fight! The storm's not over yet. Keeping your balance is an important skill for a hunter.
Legend tells of Chiu, who forged weapons from metal: the bow, polearm, spear, dagger axe, and halberd. Today, his descendant hones 100 crafts. She commands the 5 weapons, shaking the heavens.
Things no one in this world has ever done before? Is only because I, Chicha, haven't given it a try yet.
That hot-tempered little girl is trading ores for another furnace to forge with again. Who knows what she's planning to make this time?
No wonder she's been dragging me everywhere to find forging materials lately. I'm totally worn out.
The Dawnseekers call her the forging fanatic. Besides forging, she doesn't care about anything else.
As for her quirky outfit, you could say it's tailored entirely for her craft.
Isn't it obvious? Wind and fireproof goggles, mountain climbing boots perfect for gathering ore, and miniature molds of the 5 arms.
But the thing most worth mentioning is her weapon case.
She reforged the cores of the 5 arms into that case, and poured an incredible amount of effort into it, and somehow, it turned into a divine weapon that can shift between multiple forms. I'll admit, this girl really does have talent.
Each of the divine weapons forms is unique and extraordinary in its own way, and in her hands she swaps between them effortlessly, unleashing astonishing power. I've seen that bow myself. It left quite the impression. In a fight, she's definitely a worthy opponent.
And when she summons all 5 arms together, she can ride them through the air, gaining overwhelming might. People who underestimate her because of her small stature have learned their lessons the hard way.
Hey. You two over there sneakily whispering away again. If you're so free, why not help me find more ore? I'm already running low on forging materials. And you, Heaven Hound. Enough eating. Time to get going.
As the Forge Inheritor, Chicha has multiple weapons and cycles through them in this order: polearm, spear, dagger axe, halberd, bow. This is her passive skill. With each basic attack, she recovers health and switches her weapon and combat form. When her basic attack or skills hit, she gains a stack of fighting spirit which boosts her attack speed, stackable up to 8 times. When Chicha is in her defense form, Skill 1 is a crowd control and dash skill. Chicha carries the enemy along while dashing to a target direction, dealing damage to and launching enemies along her path. Skill 2 is a recovery skill. Chicha thrusts forward in the target direction, knocking enemies back and recovering her health. When Chicha is in her offense form, her skills will change. After casting Skill 1, she dashes in a target direction, carrying enemies to her landing point and launching them. Skill 2 becomes a sweeping attack that deals damage, knocks back targets within range, and recovers her health. The more enemies this skill hits, the more health she recovers. When Chicha is in her overkill form, her weapon transforms into a bow. Skill 1 fires a piercing arrow in the target direction and knocks back enemies. If an enemy hits a wall, they are immobilized for a short duration. For Skill 2's duration, Chicha has crowd control immunity and damage reduction, dealing grievous damage to enemies and knocking them back while recovering her health. This skill can hit up to 5 enemies. Her ultimate has an enhancement effect. After using it, Chicha gains a burst of movement and attack speed and breaks through her fighting spirit limit. Her basic attack can also be used while moving, dealing extra damage when hitting enemies.
Yay! As you stand in the ruins, I'm your only hope. I prepared an infinite loop for you, the kind that gets executed immediately. Oh yeah? Ha ha! Weapon power to the max! As if you could ever do that! The radiation seems to have caused irreversible damage to your brains. When you see a flash, that's the gunfire hitting you.
Your resistance only makes your blood smell better, Your Holiness. Obviously, you have forgotten to recharge your faith. Say goodbye to Dawn. The only problem with me is that I'm too perfect. What I prey on is human avarice.
Sorry, you were in my way. Time. It flows like a river.
In seconds, everything is new. I know I felt something change inside of you, and I know it because I'm feeling it too. The moment gazed into my eyes, lost in space and time. We are bound as one.
The white dove is here. You're not the one I'm waiting for. A quill and some ink to seal time within the letters. A glimpse in a dream. We've missed each other.
Hear the counsel of the ancients. We have all heard legendary stories of the great defenders known as the Warriors of Peace. That's us! You're not paying attention. Look me in the eyes. I'll only show you this once. Not paying attention in class? Sit next to me then. I'm not sure I can phrase a sentence simple enough for you to understand.
No matter how far I go, I never forget the way back home. Home is wherever your family is. Time for bed. Sleep well. Check this out. Watch this area. You're not getting away. Do you hear the snow fall? Snowball fight! The storm's not over yet. Keeping your balance is an important skill for a hunter.
Legend tells of Chiyu, who forged weapons from metal: the bow, polearm, spear, dagger axe, and halberd. Today, his descendant hones 100 crafts. She commands the 5 weapons, shaking the heavens.
Things no one in this world has ever done before is only because I, Chicha, haven't given it a try yet.
That hot-tempered little girl is trading ores for another furnace to forge with again. Who knows what she's planning to make this time?
No wonder she's been dragging me everywhere to find forging materials lately. I'm totally worn out.
The Dawnseekers call her the forging fanatic. Besides forging, she doesn't care about anything else.
As for her quirky outfit, you could say it's tailored entirely for her craft.
Isn't it obvious? Wind and fireproof goggles, mountain climbing boots perfect for gathering ore, and miniature molds of the 5 arms.
But the thing most worth mentioning is her weapon case.
She reforged the cores of the 5 arms into that case, and poured an incredible amount of effort into it, and somehow, it turned into a divine weapon that can shift between multiple forms. I'll admit, this girl really does have talent.
Each of the divine weapon's forms is unique and extraordinary in its own way, and in her hands she swaps between them effortlessly, unleashing astonishing power. I've seen that bow myself. It left quite the impression. In a fight, she's definitely a worthy opponent.
And when she summons all 5 arms together, she can ride them through the air, gaining overwhelming might. People who underestimate her because of her small stature have learned their lessons the hard way.
Hey. You two over there sneakily whispering away again. If you're so free, why not help me find more ore? I'm already running low on forging materials. And you, Heaven Hound. Enough eating! Time to get going!
As the Forge Inheritor, Chicha has multiple weapons and cycles through them in this order: polearm, spear, dagger axe, halberd, bow. This is her passive skill. With each basic attack, she recovers health and switches her weapon and combat form. When her basic attack or skills hit, she gains a stack of fighting spirit which boosts her attack speed, stackable up to 8 times. When Chicha is in her defense form, skill 1 is a crowd control and dash skill. Chicha carries the enemy along while dashing to a target direction, dealing damage to and launching enemies along her path. Skill 2 is a recovery skill. Chicha thrusts forward in the target direction, knocking enemies back and recovering her health. When Chicha is in her offense form, her skills will change. After casting Skill 1, she dashes in a target direction, carrying enemies to her landing point and launching them. Skill 2 becomes a sweeping attack that deals damage, knocks back targets within range, and recovers her health. The more enemies this skill hits, the more health she recovers. When Chicha is in her overkill form, her weapon transforms into a bow. Skill 1 fires a piercing arrow in the target direction and knocks back enemies. If an enemy hits a wall, they are immobilized for a short duration. For Skill 2's duration, Chicha has crowd control immunity and damage reduction, dealing grievous damage to enemies and knocking them back while recovering her health. This skill can hit up to 5 enemies. Her ultimate has an enhancement effect. After using it, Chicha gains a burst of movement and attack speed and breaks through her fighting spirit limit. Her basic attack can also be used while moving, dealing extra damage when hitting enemies.
Welcome everyone to the finals of the Honor Kings Campus Series, and it's not just the finals, it's the grand finals. My name is Phil, and I'm joined here by Zenon, a current pro player, to provide his high-level insight on today's matches.
Hello again, I'm Zenon, and thank you again for the great introduction, Yomos, and I'm really excited to be watching with you the grand final today.
Yeah, these games are going to be really exciting. Yesterday, we've seen the 4 teams we are going to see again today duke it out. But certain teams have solidified themselves as a cut above, right? We have Warlem and Maya Street going into the grand finals, whereas SFT and Very Good are going to be competing for that 3rd place. And this is what they're competing for here, a cash prize pool of 4,400 USD. And the difference between first and last is almost 3x. So you really want to go for that first. It's one of those tournaments where every jump in positioning gives you so much more cash prize. Here's a look at all the teams that are going to be playing today. We have Warlem, Maya Street there into the winners bracket, and then Very Good and SFT playing for 3rd place there.
Yeah, we saw SFT against Warlem yesterday. I wouldn't say dominating, but I would say controlling the game. They got like 14 minutes maximum, but it really was a close game from Team SFT.
Yeah, I think Warlem in their match definitely was a little bit more decisive. Whereas in the second match of yesterday there, it was a bit of back and forth, and Very Good put up a very strong fight. They got one win there in the middle. And then it seemed a little bit more back and forthy. So it's going to be interesting to see who can go ahead and take down that third place for the first match today, which is SFT versus Very Good. We've seen SFT, they're an interesting squad to watch, right? They're using these a little bit more unconventional picks. They didn't see much success with it yesterday, but they got this far with them. So there had to be some success in the past, and we might see that again today. They were picking stuff like Alessio here, which was interesting, and Ying. These are some fan favorite heroes, some of my favorite heroes. Whereas Very Good seems to play a little more traditional with the meta. They tried to get the Lapu Lapu, and the game they got him, he actually had a really nice tank setup and won. So it's going to be a bit of a battle versus like the traditional meta versus kind of the comfort picks here for the third place match.
Yeah, exactly. Yesterday we didn't expect one of the picks, which is Eren, and worked really well with Maya team. And it was 2-1 for Very, Very Good, but it was so unlucky they dropped to the third place and we're gonna play against Team SFT.
Yeah, that's why the games yesterday matter so much. Because even if you perform today, if you dropped yesterday, there's no chance to get first, unfortunately. You have to perform on both days, and that is what Warlim and Maya Street are going to go and attempt to do. That's going to be a very exciting match. I think Warlim coming into it are going to feel like a little bit of the favorites here because they did 2-0 everything and they have dropped no matches yet, so they feel very undefeated. Whereas Maya Street, they've shown a little bit of crack in their resolve, where Very Good, I would say had a very good draft against them in that second match and actually ended up taking it. But speaking of matches, we're getting right into the matches here. Game 1 of today is starting immediately. We have Very Good versus SFT, and Very Good is going to be on the first pick for blue side here.
Yeah, and today again, for all the teams playing against each other for the first time, but there is a little bit twist here. Yesterday probably they watched some of the games and trying to read the opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a little bit of homework that could be done now, right? You can see the teams on broadcast and see a little bit of how they play and how they pick. So they're not going into it blind now. Looking at the bans here, we have Dolia and Zhongpei being banned now. And once again, Very Good. They pick up their Lapu Lapu. We were just mentioning how they had success with it. Though the one game they won yesterday was for Lapu Lapu. And SFT, maybe they didn't do enough homework because they let Very Good get the Lapu Lapu right off the bat.
Yeah, and we see also the Fuzi pick. Also, Team SFT is known for Yang Jiang and the Fuzi pick. And we're going to see maybe the Shi like yesterday.
Yeah, this time, as opposed to yesterday there, though, SFT, they're kind of pervy to the game plan of Very Good here now, right? They know they might potentially pick these tanky lineups here. But actually, no, they end up swapping it out. The good thing about the Lapu Lapu is you could build them in a tanky setup, but it could also work in this high mobility dive setup. Look at that first 3 picks from Very Good. Lapu Lapu, Pei, Mai. These are going to be a nightmare for the potential carries inside of SFT.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for Team SFT with that enemy early game. You have Mai, you have the Tiger, you have the Lapu Lapu. It's really insane for roaming, but it's going to be really hard for SFT to control the game.
Absolutely. These early game skirmishes are going to really dictate the game here. And Very Good is going to try to force these skirmishes. Whenever you play against just a Pei, you're going to see he's going to force all these weird kind of fights in the jungle when you're not ready while you're busy farming. Because that's what Pei does, right? On top of that, you throw in a Mai as well, too, which is known for roaming around and helping out their team and being mobile to be able to, jump into all these different fights. And SFT are going to kind of really be off their balance. How they navigate and, protect their jungle in this early game is going to kind of decide how the match goes. If they can kind of go even for the first 10 minutes of the game, I'd say their scaling is probably a little bit better, right, with the Futsu, which is a very, very strong side lane pick later on. But if they get kind of run over in the early game, I don't think they're going to have a chance to come back.
Yeah, we see the Angela pick from Team SFT probably to counter the Mai. I would say Angela's really good pick against Mai for the ambush, but if you have a hero like Lapu Lapu, you have someone ready to face check for you, so it's going to be hard catching the Mai.
Absolutely, and Lapu was able to give that Mai those resistances so that maybe when Angela does end up ambushing one of his allies there, they do not go down quite immediately. But the Angela pick is good that you bring that. Angela just got buffed, so maybe it could see its way back into the meta here. We've seen a lot of the more underrated mid laners kind of come back to the meta, like the Xiao Xiao, no one was really expecting to come back. So maybe with the buffs here, Angela could definitely be very viable. Speaking of viable, another viable pick being picked up there with the Lady Sun and Charlotte. Pretty staple meta picks to round it out here. And it looks like first game at SFT, they're not going too unconventional here. They have the Andrew, they have the Futsu, but those are kind of meta-adjacent picks. They're kind of saving more of their comforts for either later games or they've deviated from that strategy.
Yeah, exactly. The buff on the Angela first skill is gonna help her a lot with the movement speed, with the wave clear. But we see the Charlotte pick, like yesterday, we saw the Lapu Lapu Charlotte, very tanky, very helpful on the side lane. And we see the Tiger Mai probably can do really well against the Ogre.
Yeah, and Ogren, is good that you bring up Ogren here. I can't believe this is the first time we're seeing Ogren, right? Yesterday it got banned, like I think once or twice. But this is the first Ogren game to come out. It got completely, skipped over here on the first day. It was banned a little bit, but there's some games where it was not banned and not picked, and it got let through the entire time. So Ogren is one of the most classic, tried and true competitive junglers here. When you think of Honor of Kings competitive jungle, I always personally think of like the Agudo, the Dune, and the Ogren. Those three were kind of the trio. But now with the latest patches and buffs and nerfs, there's a lot more variety in the jungle. There's a lot of things you can go ahead and do. And something like the Ogren, while it's not as ubiquitously good as it was back then, there are still situations in which it is good, as we see SFP pick it up here today.
Yeah, exactly. Ogren is one of the most OP picks and one of the most picked heroes of the competitive. And from yesterday, it was a semi-finals. Some teams want to hide their cards for the grand final or the third match finals.
That's true. Maybe they want to go ahead and hide some of their picks here, not giving the intel over to the enemies, because they are going to be fighting the enemies. If you look at this, hey, option start, clear those boards out. Immediately clear those boards out. And just like that, that's just how the pay matchup goes. Usually with the Ogren, you got to go ahead and try and steal something where no one's really looking at you to go ahead and get away with that.
Yeah, exactly. We saw that a lot yesterday from the Tiger. If you have an advantage, you need to use it. You have a really good early game, you have to use it before you reach the late game. And we see also the Charlotte here and the Shan, which is very good for late game. So even if I think they drop a little bit in the early game, I think it's still fine. They can do even better in the late game.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of when Ogren goes ahead and just gives away his boards and tries to steal the enemy boards, right? Because there's not much he can do. We've seen him try to defend it there, and Pei just kind of smites it right in front of him, right? It's better to go ahead and opt for an objective trade. Look at this, 3-man from the side of SFT protecting the Ogre in there, trying to provide some pressure together as Mai is all around the map, as we predicted.
Yeah, we all know the jungle usually controls the rhythm of the game, and he's the commander of the game. So slowing the jungle will help a lot of the macro for you.
Absolutely. Let's see what happens here going down mid. Lapu Lapu trying to apply some pressure with that skill 1. If you guys didn't know, he's one of the newer heroes. The skill 1, you can tap it for a slash, but if you go ahead and charge up, he throws down his sword and provides damage over time on the sword's location right there. You see right on the ground here. And if he picks up again, like he just did there, it goes ahead and slashes up. Beautiful first blood for the side of very good.
Yeah, it's very hard to play Ogre when you play against high mobility heroes. It's really hard to use your ult and hit. You need to use your ult to get the lifesteal, but it's really hard when you have a play against Tiger or Mai, very high mobility heroes.
Yeah, you need some items to go ahead and get rolling there on the Ogre, right? Usually at the Blood Rage, at the Eye of the Phoenix is when it starts coming online. Early, he doesn't really have that yet, but he will come down here with the Conductor of Souls onto 2, it looks like, and he actually catches the Lapu Lapu. They are punishing the side of Very Good for overextending in their jungle here. As the fight continues, they go over the pit here, and it looks like they want more off the back of those 2 kills. They're going to go ahead and try to secure the Azir Golem here. But wait, are they going to make the same mistake that Very Good just made here, as they're really low inside the jungle of Very Good?
Yeah, we saw that a lot yesterday. You try to use your advantage, you try to use your early game strong heroes, but sometimes if you overextend, you're going to be punished for it, and you gotta play safe sometimes.
Go ahead and give it back up to the enemies. Here we go, we're back into the mid lane here. Really cheated early game there, right? Lots of back and forth, but it seems like there's a bit of a... Oh, I say that as they are going for more fights. Usually after a big fight like that, both teams back up and farm back up, and there's a bit of a calm, but it's just constant action here between Very Good and SFT.
Yeah, we saw this also yesterday. Even though they get more kills, they still losing by gold. That's the way when you play against someone like Tiger, Mai, some hero that roam really fast. And you have Charlotte in the Clash lane. We know Charlotte is a very famous hero for countering the Fuzzy, and we're gonna see a 1v1, maybe a kill.
Yeah, close there. Charlotte and the Futsu are gonna be great watches later on into the game because they're both going for that same goal. They want to split push. They want to be in the side lanes and push these towers down. First Tyrant comes up. This one usually dictates the game. A lot of teams we saw that got the first Tyrant end up winning, and very good actually ends up getting the first Tyrant there off of the back of the pay. SFT knows that they are a little bit weaker there. They don't even contest it here. And speaking of weak, look at this. Futsu's under tower, 1 HP here, tries to get the heal, not quite enough pay, walks up with just 1 auto attack. Ogren too little too late as he comes up here with the Path of Passage and does not quite make it on time to assist the Futsu.
Yeah, it's hard to play Fuzi against Charlotte, and Charlotte known all for like her high DPS, you can keep chasing. Fuzi known for like reducing the damage, but Charlotte have some draw damage, she have some CC immune, so it's really hard to play the game against her on the side lane.
Absolutely. Once you have these winning lanes, as a pay player, you must love it when your teammates have these winning lanes, right? You can just walk up top, look what pay did. It's like, all right, the Charlotte's like, I set up Futsu for you right under tower. Here you go. Having some meat to feed the tiger. He just walks up, 1 auto attack, gets himself a kill and a head just like that. We see a tower getting traded here in the bottom side as well from Very Good. And this game too, Very Good is really steamrolling in the tempo, it looks like, as they're up almost 3,000 gold now against SFT.
Yeah, they're trying to play for the Shano. He's the real carry in the late game, so they're trying to give him some gold. They're trying to get some towers. You know, that's the most source of gold in the mid game, I would say. So that's the best way to play now. Give the Charlotte to the Fuzi in the side lane and just give all the gold to the Shano.
Absolutely. And then Mai gets a pick. We don't even see it was off screen there, but Mai gets a pick on the Angel out of nowhere. And VGD's tempo just keeps on going here. Futsu does end up getting a tower. You know, they kind of left him alone there. And you know what happens when you leave a Futsu alone? He goes and you know, just whacks down a tower. But Charlotte is now here for a bit of revenge here as she brings her partner Pei here as well. Futsu should be going down here in 2v1. He doesn't go down for nothing. He did get that tower, which gets his team a little bit global gold. But it is still, the scales are still firmly in VGD's favor currently.
Yeah, Team Very Good didn't mind losing the Flash Tower since they're gonna trade it with the mid tower and the bot lane. So, you know, mid tower gonna open a lot for the game, for the vision, for everything, and you're gonna make it easier for you to invade.
Absolutely. Now, this is definitely a very tough position for SFT here. But from your understanding, if you've ever been in a game like this, Zenon, how do you get out of this? Do you just keep playing safe, or do you want to try and make some crazy aggressive plays? How does SFT get out of this rut that they find themselves in now?
I think the best way, maybe, it's either you play side lane with Fuzi, but with some help, maybe Liampu, or you're gonna just be with, like this, play with Fuzi, try to get some kills, maybe your ult is really helpful, you can do anything in the side.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot right here where VGD knows exactly where they're at, right? So they're able to send members accordingly here and take these like favorable fights. So they're already ahead, 5,000 gold. And on top of that, all the fights you're taking, look at this, is a 4v2, 3v2, right? On top of their gold advantage. So SFT can't really break out of base here, it seems like. Whereas maybe send someone into that bottom lane could get them a bit of gold because no one's really down there right now.
Yeah, it looks like maybe they're playing this heroes at first time for... They have the Fuzi pick, they have the Angela pick, they can do some combo wombos, maybe they have the Liampu, could be a good frontline, they have the Lady Sun with a high burst damage, so they should try to get a good fight.
Yeah, that is actually a good combo you bring up there, that pick potential, right? Futsu is able to land that ultimate on someone. They're kind of a sitting duck for Angela's Blazing Brilliance there to melt them down, but we've yet to really see that combination come to fruition. SFT has a good amount of wombo to them. Lanko and the Ogren is another household classic, but they're not really comboing their picks here as Charlotte goes ahead and runs down the Futsu once again. Once Charlotte gets ahead, it's one of those heroes that has so much mobility that you can't really escape it. Even with, you know, what some might consider to be a good split pushing hero like the Futsu, Charlotte just absolutely runs him down.
Yeah, sometimes it's not about the mechanical skills, sometimes it's also about the draft. So if you have a pick like this, Fuzi on the side lane, you need to understand that you can't play the lane against Charlotte. Just try to get some help maybe from your jungle, from your support.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen a lot of that happening yesterday, right? When some of these unfavorable... Oh my god, look at the Charlotte here in the backline, absolutely diving through 3 members of SFT to take out Lady Sun through and under a tier 2 tower. once again, Charlotte is just one of those here we were just mentioning. You cannot escape. And that goes true even if you're under tower. Charlotte will just dive right through those towers, and they are still going here. This could potentially be an under 10-minute game here, as Very Good looks to set the pace for today. It's almost a team wipe. Everyone but Futsu goes down. They're onto the crystal. They do not have any minions or vanguards to make it vulnerable, though, so they have to rotate down to the bottom tier 2. But that is another high ground down. 9 minutes in the game. It's 11-2. VGD's looking to end out the game right now.
Yeah, it could be today the quickest tournament in the tournament, not even for today and yesterday. And we saw...
Wow.
Yeah, nice game. That was it.
Absolutely. Now that is a masterclass in Pei, ending the game under 10 minutes while Pei is still in his peak power band there, not giving the enemies really a chance to respond to that. SFT, I think their mistake that game was they kind of played into Very Good's win condition, right? They tried taking all these small fights against Very Good there, which is not what you want to do against a Pei and Mai. They love and excel in these small skirmishes. That's why we saw them won those skirmishes so many times. There was one time where SFT caught them in their jungle and they got a double kill, but they kind of overextended and made the same mistake that Very Good made and gave it kind of right back to the enemies there as they tried to capitalize off that, go towards the Azure Golem, noticed that they didn't have enough time and give those kills right back away.
Yeah, and we saw the Charlotte against Woody. She played a little bit safe early game. She can do anything before level 4, but after level 4, she can just dominate the Fuzzy, and her team was doing good already. The Mai, the Pei was controlling the game, and so just played comfortably. Every time you see the Fuzzy, you can just fight him.
Absolutely. And we don't see Mai too often, but look what happens when the Mai comes out there. SS404, beautiful performance from the mid laner of Very Good here. Showing how you play mid. Use all throughout the map, assassinating targets, got some solo kills on his laner as well too. Very, very impressive gameplay. But it's good that you bring up the Futsu and the Charlotte matchup. Yesterday, we've seen a lot when these teams identified that their Clash laner is in a disadvantage 1v1. They usually send up something like the support, right? Get the Liang Po in the bush and provide a little bit of pressure early game to give the Futsu or the weaker matchup, right, some breathing room. But we didn't see it today, and look what happens, right? Futsu, as Zenon mentions here, is a bit weaker in the 1v1, and giving Charlotte that 1v1 is exactly what she wants to do, and they didn't give him enough pressure there, and she was just able to snowball, and we saw in the mid to late game how powerful that Charlotte was, able to catch out the Futsu and dispatch him, as well as dive and execute key targets in these fights.
Yeah, exactly. If we have a pick like Fuzz and you play against counter pick, you can just ask for some help. It can be anyone, could be Lady Sun, could be Ogan. You just need some damage to kill the Charlotte. And it looks like Team SFT studied the very good team, but not very well. Maybe they banned the Shi, they banned the Renji from yesterday. They forget the Charlotte pick, they forget the Lapu Lapu pick, which did really good this game.
Absolutely, and we know that there are picks that Very Good like playing, right? Because they've played them yesterday and they had success on them as well too. But Zenon, that's a great point. Sometimes on our Kings, it's a team game. You gotta ask for help, okay? Even if I'm in a good matchup when I'm playing Clash Lane, as a Clash Lane player myself, I will always ask my jungler for help. I could always use some more help. I can always get ahead even more. I love asking for ganks there to propel myself so I can, carry the game later on, right? And especially in a bad matchup like this, I'll be the first one to be crying in the chat, please help me, I can't play against this guy, all right? To get some of those ganks out, because that's what happens. Look what happens when you're a bad matchup and they force you to 1v1 it. It's going to be really, really rough, especially when a Pei scoops down, scoops over every now and then and applies some autos to you under tower. It's really hard to play.
Yeah, especially when you play side lane. When you play Clash lane, usually you need some help. Even if you're winning the lane, you need someone to take the vision for you. Usually it's going to be support or jungle, just take vision, because the enemy can group at any time, and your priority is taking the wave in the towers.
Absolutely. Hey, my junglers and solo queue, you guys heard that, right? Even if you're winning, help me out. But from what Zenon said, if you're not winning, help them out too. Help out your Clash laners, guys, all right? All right, it's lonely up there. Usually it's a 1v1. Someone is winning, someone is losing. It could be a great spot for action. Speaking of action, we got some more action coming up here today. Here's a look at the brackets here. Very Good taking the first game versus SFT. And I dare say that was a very decisive one too, right? That one really set the pace. They're saying, hey, we're here to play. We can't get that first, unfortunately, anymore, but we're gonna minimum at least get that third here with the just initial momentous game there in that game one with Pei.
Yeah, and we still don't know. Maybe SFT gave them one of the most comfortable picks because they may be playing for the second game. They already banned the Shi, they already banned the Direnji, and now they can't use the Lapu, they can't use the Charlotte. Maybe we're gonna see some Dharma against Fatih matchup like yesterday. Maybe we're gonna see some Ying, some Fade. We all know SFT is very comfortable playing Fade with the tanky support like Liampo or Zhangfei. So we're gonna see.
Yeah, now that Lapu Lapu is being taken from the side Very Good, they're going to be forced to either ban it or give it away. And Lapu Lapu and Fade, that sounds like a pretty good combo to me, right? Fade likes traditionally going a little bit of damage, a little bit of bruiser, but maybe with someone like the Lapu Lapu on his team to supplement his defenses, he can go those higher damage, more snowbally builds. You know, we're just cooking here, theory crafting, but that could be some good stuff to see here coming in from this next game. But SFT, they're kind of on death's door here. This is match point. Whatever strategy they're hiding or trying to do, they got to bring it out right now, because if they lose this, they're not going to get any more chances.
Yeah, well, still there is the Yang Jiang pick, there is the Dulia pick with the Yang Jiang, and like you said, if you play someone like Assassin, Fade, could be Jing, it could be any hero, you need someone to take the attention from you in the team fight, and just for you to flank, just to wait for the perfect moment to kill the farming or kill the mage, to do something in the fight, basically.
Absolutely here. And I'm a big fan of cheering for the underdogs here. So SFT, I hope they break out something new, something unconventional that Very Good is not ready for, so we can go to that game 3. But off of the first game already, Very Good, I know they're feeling good. They have an under 10-minute win. They execute their game plan absolutely perfectly here. And it makes sense because look what they're playing for here. $4,400 prize pool between all these teams here. The difference between 4th and 3rd place is 250 USD. We were talking about skins yesterday. That's a lot of skins. That is like 5, 6, 7 skins for every member of the team. And it is a good time for skins right now too. All of those winter theme skins are amazing. We're talking about Futsu. Futsu has a really funny skin where it's a little Foxy Futsu, I think it's called. I didn't really expect him to come out with a skin like that, but that's going to be a very epic one there too. And that prize pool is going to go a long way once you get that 3rd place.
Exactly, and the new season is coming soon after maybe 3 days, and there's a lot of skins, so you have to play for the, even if you can't do it to the grand final, you can still play for the 3rd place to get better price, to get better placements, and to take your revenge, of course.
Absolutely, and this is going to be match point for 3rd place coming up right now as we're getting ready to go into drafts here. We're going to be back-to-back all action here today, right after this 3rd place match here, and the 3rd place winner gets crowned. We're going straight into the grand finals, and then we're gonna see who is gonna be first. Now it seems like SFT opts to go for that first pick here, the blue side, and some bans are already underway. We see the Arlie ban, the Diadea ban here. Interesting to see an Arlie ban from first pick, so maybe they kind of don't want to play Arlie themselves, right? Because we see Arlie usually is a second is a second pick ban there, so that first pick does not get it, but they actually opt to ban it out, so doing some different strategies. And hey, as we mentioned, right, the Lapu Lapu was picked by VGD already. If they don't ban it out, SFT is going to go ahead and take it away, and that's exactly what they do here for first pick.
Yeah, very good know what they're doing. They take the OP heroes, they play the Tiger, they know the Mai is very OP, so you just take the hero and ban it again. You're not gonna see the hero again. It's best of 3. Maybe best of 7 you have to change your bans, best of 5 same. But if you're playing against best of 3, you can just pick the OP heroes, ban it next game. And it looks like, as you said, maybe they don't play the early. We saw a lot of comfortable picks from SFT. We saw the Lady Sun, we saw the Alessio yesterday, and today we saw the Lapu Lapu.
I think I would have liked to see something like a Dharma pick up for SFT actually before Lapu Lapu, because they know Very Good can't pick Lapu Lapu, right? They already picked it, so they could pick it up later on. But since they first pick it, they might be hiding some of their teammates. They want to go for something like that counter pick instead. And it looks like they opted lock in the Nua and the Long. This is a very traditional, strong meta composition so far for the lineup of SFT.
Yeah, exactly. You already picked the Lapu Lapu, so you don't have to first pick it. You could go for another pick. They team very good am I looking for, but we see the Ata maybe today we saw it yesterday from the team very good and did really well.
I think Ada was, as Xenon crowned it, the MVP of yesterday, because we saw it in a good amount of games, and it kind of won all of them. It's a very slept-on jungler there, not flashy, right? It's not a Pei, it's not a Mai. Like, no one really goes like, oh my god, I have such a good Ada. But Ada is the guy in the background silently winning games, right? He's the front line of your team, splish-splashing in and out of those fights, getting these ghost ships on priority targets. And so far, looking at the side of Very Good, their lineup is very tanky. They have 2 full tanks, as well as Fatih, which kind of goes brutal bruiserish here. So the side of SFT, they need to pack that punch. They need that firepower coming in here. They have the long, they have the NUA, so they have a good amount already, but they got to be ready to cut down the likes of BGD.
Yeah, we saw the Lata yesterday, and the heroes still have 100% win rate, and it's really hard to play against. We saw the Noah, we saw the Lady Jen also, and today we're gonna see Long and Lapu Lapu, which is kinda safe to play, but it's gonna be really hard early game to play against tanks. And we see the very good team doing the She combo with the tanks, so we might see She today again.
Oh, true. She could be a great pickup there too. I think the She matchup into the Nua. What do you think about the She matchup into the Nua? I was always a fan of the Nua versus the She because Nua is just able to kind of outrange the She. But She is strong versus melees, though. I historically understand like She versus the melees are so annoying. They push you around a lot. But in that 1v1, it might not be as favorable.
Yeah, as you said, no one can win by the range, but for She, you just need to surprise her, maybe go into some ambushes, maybe work for your team to get some stuns. You have the Zhangfei, you have the Fatih can flank, so you might just wait and actually, maybe you don't need to kill the Noah since Noah doesn't have any damage against the tanks. Maybe you need to kill the Long only.
It looks like SFT are also wise to the power of that She pick there. Look at that. They ban out the She. They ban out the Yijing. These are kind of enablers for their melees, right? She gets to pull in enemies into the melee's range, as well as Yijing sets up that board and traps the enemies inside Zhongfei, a very, very classic combo. Something that's not a classic combo here, we're seeing the Garuda being hovered here, and it looks like it gets locked in. We were talking about this yesterday. Me and Xenon are big fans of this new hero here. Very fun to play and very unique kit there too, right? With that ultimate raining down arrows on the enemies. Let's see how Very Good ends up doing with that. As SFT, they do get a little bit of spice in there. There's their Ying, right? Not many players play the Ying. That's the very like solo queue ladder style hero. They opt to actually bust out the Ying and send the Yang Zhuan up top.
Yeah, we saw the same picks from yesterday. We see the Ying, we saw the Yang Jiang. We see them playing yesterday against the Team 1 Limi, but today we're gonna see the Garuda pick, which is insanely, I think, good here since you have two tanks already. Fatih can just let them do your thing in the side lane, maybe flank later, but if you wanna push some turrets, anything, you have the Garuda, you want some poke, you have anything, the Garuda hero you have.
Absolutely. Very, very exciting picks on the side of VGD there. Now, while yesterday the Ying was not successful, we also have to mention individual performance, right? In the game, the Ying was landing some amazing combos, 3-man combos early game. Unfortunately, they didn't really have the draft to capitalize on it. They had a Schwanza last game when they played it, if I'm correct, which is not one of the strongest early game supports, so they couldn't really capitalize off it. But this game here, they have Lapu Lapu. If this Ying hits some more 3-man combos, I think it's going to be very, very different how it turns out.
Yeah, and it looks like Team Very Good are doing the same thing. Just give the EDC some late game hero. You don't have to play for him, and play for the Clash lane as usual.
Absolutely. The last pick there, right before we swap screens there, that was the Show UA. So on red side there, they're saying we got the range advantage, right? We have this beefy front line that you gotta cut through, the Zhangfei, the Fatih, right? And then on top of it, we have the firepower in the back, the Garuda raining arrows with the ultimate here, the wild winds coming out from the Show UA there. They have that range advantage, and it's gonna be up to SFT to see if they can get on top of those carries. Because if they don't, they have infinite damage, infinite sieging with the Show UA and the Garuda.
Yeah, exactly. After level 4, usually Team Very Good will play for the Dragon as usual and try to give some gold from the tower from the Shoyu. And later on, you're gonna see the Shoyu first in some bushes, so it's gonna be a little bit helpful for the Garuda to play more safe and to get more vision.
Absolutely, and they can get a lot of vision there with the Show You skill 1, right? Being able to set down those little vision kind of cameras depending on the skin you have on them there. But here we go, we see some action coming out, right? Fatih versus Yang Zhuan in the Clash lane. Both laners trading a bit of health already. And it looks like they got some fun minion skins there too. What minions are those? Those are like some green soldier guys on the side of SFT. That's pretty interesting here as they go ahead and clear up on some jungle now.
Yeah, that was the minions from the skins from the HoK and all the skins. And we see the Ata was helping the mid lane get the prioritized mid, so he can get the pigs for the enemy team, and it's still fine, you know. Maybe he needs some help now, and you see Garuda helping him in the blue, so they're doing fine.
Absolutely. Look at that. Look at the wave clear coming out from Shoyue there. Being able to use 2 wild winds to completely dispatch a wave. One of my favorite marksmans to play there, just because how fun that kind of sniper-esque feeling is. It is relatively weak in the early games here. You need to kind of go throughout the game, put points into your ultimate to get that range. But once you are into the late game, you're nailing people from like a mile away and doing a bunch of damage. It is super, super fun once you get to that point. We see Ying come up here into the clash lane to help out Yang Juan clear this wave and probably unlock the teleport there as they opt to make some plays around the map.
Yeah, exactly. And Trio was one of the safest pick also since he is second. And this time you play against Lapu Lapu, you play against Long. It's hard to 1v1 the Long. Plus the Lapu Lapu is going to be so tanky, you can't win any trade. So the show you picked will say it's perfect here.
Absolutely. Look at this. 3-man on the side of VGD, opting to try and make a play top here. Doesn't really get much here. SFT, they know it's coming, so they opt to just go ahead and back up. They use the teleport to come back into it here. Both teams seems like they're playing kind of like they're walking on eggshells here, right? They're playing really safe. They know this game is very important. VGD can go ahead and lock up 3rd place immediately if they win it. And SFT, they're not trying to go home. They want to bring this to game 3, right? So both teams playing extremely safe, and they're waiting for this first Tyrant before it kicks off.
Yeah, we see a very tanky team from Team Very Good. On the opposite side, we see some heroes, but there is not really a high mobility hero, so both teams probably gonna play it safe. Just let's see what farms we can get, what camps we can get, and just wait for the dragon and see who can win.
There's that ultimate coming out right there. You see the rain of arrows, and it actually lasts for a pretty long time. It's like 4 seconds of constant arrows coming out here, and if you land all of it, it can almost solo any carries usually. Sometimes even tanks, if you're really fed, will get soloed and hit every single one here. So that's going to be applying a lot of pressure throughout the game. We're going to see it using that a lot to kind of pepper down the enemies as they're sieging, all while wild winds are coming out from the Shoyu as well to go ahead and soften up the enemies.
Yeah, and that's why I always say Garuda maybe not the best hero to play in solo queue, but he's one of the best heroes to play in competitive because you're playing with 4 people, you know, and there is 4 tanks for your team, so you can just use your ult, someone to defend you when you're using your ult, so that's what you need. You need some cover when you use your ult.
Uh-oh, here we go. A first blood and a solo kill coming out in the clash lane here. Fati need a little bit of defense there. Hold on, it's not over yet as we see a team fight being broken out right in front of the Tyrant here. Tyrant's not even up yet. Ghost Ship comes down. Ying goes down here. Liang Guo, Zhang Fei, I'm sorry, jumps back in there trying to get some combinations off as they go ahead and back up. Huge fight. It's so chaotic. I almost named the wrong hero.
It's fine. And you see, actually, they're doing some combo. They know what they're doing. They kind of wanted them to get closer so the Ata can block them there with the ult. And we see the Zhang Fei ult directly and some damage from the Garudas.
And after all this happened, they go ahead and find the time to secure the Crimson Golem as well, too. And on top of that, they've pushed SFT all the way back into their base now, and this gives them the first free time. What do we always say? The team that gets the first Tyrant kind of dictates the game. And I think almost every single match we've seen so far, the team that gets the first Tyrant wins. Is this going to follow that status quo?
Yeah, of course, since you get the dragon, it's gonna be a little bit hard to fight them since they have the movement speed, they have the damage, they will go to take your jungle, and so you're gonna be fast farming your camps, trying to keep the gold cap place, so...
Yang Juan opting to go ahead and teleport into the mid lane here to try and apply some pressure. He has already cleaned up his wave though, so he knows he has a few seconds to go ahead and apply some pressure before he has to go back in that clash lane here. Ultimate coming down, absolutely peppering all the enemies on side FFT. He doesn't really have many items yet. Usually you want to build up some slow and burn and anti-heal items to apply a lot of effects with that ultimate, but it's still in the early game. It's mainly just damage here for now and poke.
Yeah, exactly. The Garda Colt's kinda hard to aim and it's a little bit easy to dodge if the enemy have some space to move around, but after you buy the slow item, it's gonna be a little bit harder for them to dodge. You're gonna be slowing them and damage them at the same time, and it's gonna be really good for zoning like we saw in the blue.
For sure. Now it's Fatih sure to go ahead and roam out and help out team. Wow, beautiful skill 1 onto 2 there, knocking up 2. Gets Ying controlled up here and goes down. And look at that. The rain of arrows under tower takes them out. It is all-out war here in the red side zone for SFT here. Both sides have casualties, but a lot more on the side of SFT as 4 are down for them here. Nua is the only one left, forced to try their best to go ahead and defend as she almost actually goes down to the Shoyue for a clean ace as well too. She is forced to retreat all the way back in the base. She can't even wave clear behind her tower because Shoyue is able to land those snipes on her.
Yeah, exactly. We're seeing the same combo wombo that happened in the red buff. The Ata ult and the Zhangfei ult, they wanna be all close to the tower, and Ata's just gonna do his thing, just stun. The Garuda have some space to ult. The Shoyu have a little bit some range to do some damage, and they can't even focus the backline.
Yeah, as we see another fight go down here, these are just constant skirmishes here. It looks like this is exactly what Very Good want, these skirmishes into the jungle here. Because best case scenario, they win the fight. Worst case scenario, they at least take the golem here. Here we go, Nua's Annihilation comes out. It looks like Zhongfei kind of was a little bit overzealous without the ultimate this fight here, right? Last time they were able to go ahead and do that combo wombo because they had their ultimates. They had the Ghost Ship and the Unbridled Outburst to knock them into it. And we saw there, the Ada already used their Ghost Ship in the mid lane, and Zhongfei did not have ultimate, so they were not ready for war there.
Yeah, since they are playing tanks, they thought maybe we can go get some vision, take some camps, but they just realized a little bit too late that they got outnumbered, and it's 5v2 actually.
Yeah, very interesting itemization. I just saw the long pickup anti-heal very early here, so he's really respecting the healing from the enemy side there, and he knows he needs to apply it on someone like that Ada on the Zhongfei because they're so tanky to be able to cut them down with those flaming palms.
Yeah, they're playing against 3 tanks, especially the Fatih peak, the Ata peak, they're healing a lot, so you've got to be the first or second item to the anti-heal.
Yeah, I think that's a trait that pro players are very good at. Is they know how to itemize very well, right? Sometimes to do the most damage, you actually don't need to build damage. You got to build that utility, right? If you can prevent thousands of healing from the enemy team, it's as if you're doing like thousands of damage more. And that is what the SFT's marksman along here has identified. Instead of going the standard Eternity Blade and everything, they want to get that anti-heal in there early, as you can see. Their first item anti-heal too, from the Nuwa and the long here to make sure the enemy has no healing whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. Even though no about the anti-heal, but maybe the long bot it, so maybe he can fight also alone. Maybe he want to get some catches on the side lane.
For sure here. It looks like VGD definitely not as strong as that game one, right? They don't have the pay anymore. They're not able to end the game out in under 10 minutes. 8 minutes in already. SFT is pretty confidently behind here. Oh my god, look at this. Fatih coming in with the ultimate here and applying a lot of pressure on the side of SFT in their jungle here. But once again, they're up 4,000 or 5,000 gold almost, and they're able to just nail down these towers. While we're seeing all this action go down, Shoyu is just, you know, slowly picking away at these towers, scaling up in case his team needs him in the late game.
Yeah, exactly. We see a 3-4k gold gap. It's actually not very big at 8 minutes, so I think we still have a chance to fight maybe.
Beautiful ultimate to cut off the side of SFT here. They got them all boxed up here. All 5 members of SFT are caught out. They thought they were gonna make a play on the Fatih and catch him out, but they were the ones that actually ended up getting caught out. Ying is not having a good game this game here, dying multiple times by the hand of VGD, and being the jungler, it's gonna be real hard to come back from that.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna be hard to play this game with Ying since the 2 heroes already have the anti-CC thing. So if you go in already, it's really hard to go out.
Oh, look at this fight here. They are trying, SFT is trying their best to go ahead and come back from this, but they're just down so much gold. Look at those arrows absolutely prodding them under tower. And that's what we were talking about from the Garuda. He's able to apply that pressure and consistent DPS from such a long ways away here. Fatih ends up getting away on 1 HP there. SFT really needed that shutdown. They need something right now. They're down 4 kills and they are down almost 7,000 gold here. They need a kind of miracle pick, a big shutdown to get back into this game right now.
Yeah, it's gonna be really hard from the side of SFT, and they're losing a lot of gold now since they lost the mid tower, and it's really hard to fight against the very good team since they have Garuda, they have the Shoyu. Shoyu most of the time is invisible, just hitting you from range. The Garuda just ulting from range also, so you're gonna be only seeing the tanks.
Yeah, composition like VG, when they're ahead, it's so oppressive. Whenever you play against poke heroes and they're ahead, it's not poke anymore. They're basically assassinating you from range. These shots coming out from Shoyu are going to be hitting you for a third of, if not half of your health here. And then you immediately have to go back to base, right? And that kind of propels their game plan here of keeping the enemy in the base here. Fatih popping that ultimate. Every time Fatih is against this Yang Zhuan, he knows the power that he could do. So he has to pop that ultimate to try and contest him in the 1v1. Look at Gudo with the ghost ship, trapping the Yang Zhuan there. Perfect combo and synergy there. Trapping the Yang Zhuan here so that it gets nailed by all the arrows of Gudo. And it looks like this is going to be it here. All 5 members of VGD are up, and SFT is going in 1 by 1, and they're going down 1 by 1 as well. very decisive game 2 here for VGD as they go ahead and lock up their 3rd place spot here in the grand finals.
Yeah, what an insane combo, what an insane strategy they play. 2 tanks, the attack will help them zone the enemy, just putting them in some space, and the Gorilla just ult. We have the Zangfi to cover the farm lane. Fetih can just take his time, he can just flank, he can just play in the side, and they can just win the fights.
I'm going to call this a shooting a fish in the barrel style composition, right? The Ada setting up that ghost ship there allows Zhang Fei to push them into that ship if they want to, or it kind of traps the enemies to get sniped by the Shoyue and the Garuda too, right? So they have a really interesting strategy, and not something you think about too often, the Zhang Fei and the Ada, but that's actually a great double tank synergy there to be able to control the enemies for so long.
Yeah, exactly. When we saw the game from Team Very Good, the game before this, we saw the Mai, we saw the Tiger. They have some heroes to control the early game, but if we look at the team comp of SFT, they have the Noah, they have the Long, they have the Ying. Ying is kind of fine early game, but still you need really strong early game to at least to make it to the late game.
Absolutely. I think the difference there in Very Good versus SFT is that number one, their execution is at a little bit of a higher level, but also their teams really make sense. They have a lot of synergies. These heroes, not only are they good on the heroes themselves are good with each other as well. Whereas you see SFT's lineups, they're a little bit more all over the place, right? There's not very clear synergy between their current lineup here you're looking at now. They just picked, like very strong individual heroes, and they try to make it work, which is a strategy as well too, but unfortunately it came up short here in the grand finals. But that is going to be our first match of today there. SFT versus Very Good. Very Good pretty clearly taking that 3rd place spot there and getting that nice bump up there in the team cash prize. But SFT is not walking away with nothing. They still take home over 600 USD team cash prize there, which is amazing. All the teams in this circuit here are winners, but there could only be one that is going to be the very best. We're going to go right in the break here. Don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. When we come back, we're going to see the grand finals. Also, exclamation point giveaway in chat so you guys get some winnings as well too, all right?
An infinite loop for you, the kind that gets executed immediately. Oh yeah? Ha ha! Weapon power to the max! You could ever do that! Ha! And you thought you had me! The radiation seems to have caused irreversible damage to your brains. When you see a flash, that's the gunfire hitting you.
Your resistance only makes your blood smell better, Your Holiness. Obviously, you have forgotten to recharge your faith. Say goodbye to Dawn. The only problem with me is that I'm too perfect. What I prey on is human avarice.
Sorry, you were in my way. Time, it flows like a river. The white dove is here. You're not the one I'm waiting for. A quill and some ink to seal time within the letters. A glimpse in a...
Welcome back, everyone. It is time for the main event, the grand finals. We just saw SFT versus Very Good, and Very Good proving their name right here, as they're a very good team and they cement third place here, sending SFT to fourth place and going home. But now it is time to see who goes home the victor. The first place, the best of the best in the campus series here. It is going to be between Warlimy and Maya Street here, fighting for that first place and that insane almost 1900 USD cash prize. Also, speaking of prizes for teams, we have prizes for the viewers as well too. I just got word that you can go ahead and enter in to get a iPhone 15 Pro Max as well on top of the gift cards. So make sure you guys join those giveaways and get yourself a chance to win here.
Yeah, it's the games we're waiting for. It's the grand final games. It's against Team Warlimy against Team Maya. The two teams qualified from the first qualifier, losing almost no games. Team Warlimy is more known for like flexible picks. We saw yesterday they usually like to get the red side and go for the counter picks.
Absolutely. And Warlimy is going to be our only representative from the United Kingdom here. The other 3 teams are from Italy. So it's going to be interesting to see if their play style is a little bit different based on their region or not, or they have a different style. It's always interesting to see how different players from different regions go ahead and play here. But this is going to be the finals here coming up. We see the bracket is completely flushed out. It says 3rd place to be determined, but it has been determined. All right, it is very good there in that 3rd place spot now. And now we need to see who is going to be crowned the champions.
Yeah, exactly. And probably we saw some picks from yesterday, but I would assume both teams are waiting for the grand final to show us the real picks.
Yeah, you always got to keep, a few cards up your sleeve, right? For the final moments here, for the best moments to go ahead and break them out. If there was something that you've been testing that you want to kind of try out and surprise the enemy with, now is going to be the time. It is, once again, a best of 3, so these are going to be some quick games. You kind of can't pull any punches and hide your picks or, play for a draft strategy in the best of 5s, best of 7s. These are going to be best of 3s. You're going to need to win every single game, and every single game matters.
Yeah, we saw actually a lot of interesting pick yesterday. We saw some Gugudzu pick from Team Warlimi in the second game, and we saw some Eren pick from Maya.
Yeah, and it worked out too, right? Both of these interesting picks actually work out. When you're a high-level team, you know exactly what all the strong picks are, right? But what separates a good team from a great team is you have to also know when to use these, weaker picks, weaker in general picks. But in this perfect situation, it's actually really strong, right? And we saw that come out from both these teams here, using these more off-meta picks and getting large success with them.
Yeah, and both teams, we saw them contest yesterday, the Fatih, they contesting both the Dharma, and we know like the Dharma-Fatih matchup is, we're going to see almost every game, and we're going to see maybe the Nizha and the Yang Jiang Jungle, maybe we're going to see some Arli, some Marco Polo, and maybe we see the Eren again today.
Absolutely, yeah. If those come up, that would be amazing. Or maybe something new is going to come up too. These teams could always have some, comfort pick in the back pocket that they can bust out here to kind of surprise their enemies here now, though. And in a best of 3 format, if you can get some surprise wins, that's pretty good, right? You're halfway there for being a champion. So I would say more unconventional, even some dare say cheesy strategies are pretty strong.
Yeah, exactly. The Fatih peak, we saw also interesting peak like Guan Yu, we saw the Liang we didn't expect with the Qiao Qiao. We saw both teams contesting Zhangfei, and the Ata pick from Maya that they got them the win easily.
Our grand finals, game 1 is coming up now.
Yeah, we saw some interesting pick like Arli, which is OP pick. We saw some Marco Polo, probably some comfortable pick. And we saw from the other side, Team Maya playing more from Eren and some late game heroes like Chanu, like Flowborn. So let's see today what they're going to play.
I'm going to make a wild prediction here, okay? I love doing these during casts, making some crazy wild prediction. I'm wrong most of the time. But what if we bring back the Set Sail Master himself? We bring back Sunset. All right, I love watching Sunset gameplay. It seems like Clash has kind of forgot about him, You bringing up the Eren kind of reminds me of some games where Sunset and Eren kind of drive by and just shoot people with the Eren ultimate, which could be really fun. That's my wild hot take prediction, that Sunset is going to be played during this match. 95% chances wrong, though.
Exactly, we could see, we saw a lot of interesting from Maya yesterday. We didn't expect the Guan Yu, we didn't expect the Liao Qiao Qiao, we didn't even expect the Ata. And we saw also some counter picks from Team Warlimi that we didn't usually see. We saw the Ria, we saw the Nizha, we saw the Gugudzu pick.
Now, Zenon, we've seen all these teams play now, and we kind of know what picks they have been picking. What is one pick that you're surprised has not really come up yet, right? Where you're like, wait, why don't these guys play this hero?
I would actually be surprised if they pick maybe Dr. Bian from lane. It's really good against Long, actually.
I like playing. I'm a big Dr. Bian believer. The Dr. Bians on my team are a little bit when I see them, but when I play them and have a Zhang Fei on my team and I have a Bai Chi top lane as well too. You play the Dr. Bian in the farm lane or in the mid lane. Ooh, it's so fun to just keep throwing out heals and your front line is absolutely invincible. They call him the walking fountain for a reason, right?
Yeah, exactly. Dr. Bian with the healing, and you sometimes, like you said, you see the Baichi, maybe you get some Agudo, you could be getting Haino farm lane, you can get anything. You just need tanks, you need Sunbeam maybe for some movement speed and heal regen, and everything will be good, I think.
If I'm playing Baichi, I know I would love to have a Dr. Beyond on my team healing me up though. But every time I see Dr. Beyond when they're on my team, I have like a full squishy lineup for some reason, and they just randomly kind of picked it there. But here's a look at the brackets. Once again, we're getting right into the final match now, and I can't wait any longer. I want to see these drafts. I want to see what they ban. Will we get the Lapu Lapu come out even more? We did see Arlie yesterday too. I think it ended up being a bait, actually. They baited the enemies into picking the Arlie, and they picked the Liang to go ahead and counter it out. And while Liang was such a contested pick yesterday, we haven't actually seen it yet today, right? It was not banned. It was not picked. It was completely let through.
Yeah, like we said, the Liang pick, it's kind of hard to play, especially with the Frost. You need some communication, you need some synergy with your support, and it's really good to play, but it's also very hard, you know, if you play against hero like Noah, you play against some long CCs, I would say it's going to be really hard and really easy to cancel the Liang ult.
Absolutely. I personally still like it when the teams play the Liang, you know. I want to see the Liang Princess Frost combo. I'm surprised it got let through so many times. I know it's not as strong as in the past, but it's still the bread and butter, you know. It's still the tried and true. And I think there's a good chance Maya Street will end up picking it up here. And enough delay, it looks like our yapping is over here as we're about to get into the draft of Game 1.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't really expect the team One Limit to play the Yang, since the team Maya have the Guan Yu, they have like the Xiao Xiao, they have some really good picks with the Lady Zhen. But maybe, who knows, maybe team Maya play the Liang, since the team One Limit doesn't really have a counter for it.
Absolutely, yep. We'll go ahead and get ready now here. Any second now, what are we thinking the bans are going to be? I think Mai is going to be banned out a good amount as well too. Lapu Lapu has been getting banned here as we, let's see, here we go. We are into drafts now here too. Futsu now that is not a ban I expected. I'm talking about Mai. I'm talking about Lapu Lapu. And then Maya's like, nope, we're going to remove Futsu out of this game here.
Yeah, from we saw from the last games, Team Molimi usually play for the counter picks. They have like really flexible heroes, but for the most heroes they picked, they played almost every game Yang Jiang, and they played some Fuzi. So it looks like Team Molimi studied them.
Interesting. As first pick, you know, you could kind of be a little bit more flexible with your bans, you know. You could do more of these, you know, targeted bans, because if the enemy leaves open the Arlie or any OP heroes, you just pick it up, right? So they're allowed these targeted bans here. We see Diadea being banned out as well too. There's a good chance Warriors are going to go for the standard second pick Diadea Arlie ban here, which we see most second team picks actually end up doing. Let's see how Maya actually rounds this out now.
Yeah, banning the Diadea also means you want to play the early, because Diadea is one of the hard counters for the heroes that have the mobility. You know, when the Diadea catches the early, she can go back, their skills get cancelled, so maybe they want to go for the early pick.
Yeah, I think Diadea and Arlie, they have an interesting relationship, you know, because as Arlie, you would love having a Diadea as well too. But if you leave it up, you kind of give it the chance to enemy to take it and kind of counter you as well too here. So I'm expecting a Arlie ban here coming out from War, but no, they actually end up banning the pay. So Arlie is up right now for Maya to go ahead and pick up, as well as Lapu Lapu's up too. While a lot of things are on the table right now.
Yeah, we see Team Maya actually doing very good with the pay heroes yesterday, and they played really aggressive, and they gave some space for Eren to scale for the late game and buy some items. And we saw also the Dharma hard killing yesterday with the MVP, but we see actually the Yang Jiang getting first pick from Team Maya.
Now that is a very interesting first pick there. Giving over the Arlie and the Lapu Lapu. Now that is a devastating bot lane here. I think Lapu Lapu, Arlie is already an amazing hero, right? But you throw Lapu Lapu on top of it, giving Arlie those resistances. Once she gets that Doomsday going and you give her resistance, she's going to be really hard to take down.
Yeah, we saw the team Molimi instantly pick the two heroes. Probably they were ready for any hero. They don't care what the enemy were gonna pick. They just want to play their comfortable heroes. And we see maybe the Dulia Yang Jiang combo from the other side.
Yeah, we talked a lot about this Dulia Yang Jiang combo, but I don't think many teams have really executed on it as well as the Fury, right? Like the idea is you kind of play it like a Kaiser, Dolia, right? Give them that massive reset. But we've seen Dolias kind of get caught. And if you catch out the Dolia, they're not able to get that perfect reset off. They're forced to kind of burn everything to try and keep themselves alive. But it looks like they opted to switch up their strategy last second here. Instead of going and picking that up right now, they're opting to maybe save it for later on and pick up the Agudo channel for a more tower sieging composition so far.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe they were scared a little bit of the Lapu Lapu stands, and it's going to be really hard for the Dulia to get anything in the game. So they changed for the Agoda and Chano comp, it's really good actually against the early, since you can just poke from range, and you have your ult from the Agoda, so you're gonna be perfectly fine against the early.
Here's War's chance to go ahead and ban out the Dolia, though. They know Maya kind of wants to pick it, right? They hovered it a little bit before, and they, I guess they have not. They could, yeah. Zia could be in the mid lane as well too, so maybe they could kind of take the Dolia away as well too if they opt to keep it open. But I can't imagine Maya is not going to immediately pick it up though if it's available.
Yeah, true. I think they still have the chance to pick it since they have the Agudo, and they can face check the bushes. You have the Yang, also really good hero to face check the bush, and you have the Chano also. You can put some seconds in your bush. So we might see the Dolia, but maybe not the best hero to play with Chano.
I think some great third and fourth bans coming out from Maya here. Removing the Dharma, removing the Fatih, forcing War on a less optimal Clash laner here now that their Clash laner has not been picked yet, whereas Maya opts to go ahead and send the Young Juan up top. But as we were saying yesterday, you cannot go wrong with the Byron. It's so tried and true. You know, you're never going to really get let down by Byron. He's good in every single composition. You know, you're always happy to see him, and that's what War opt to go ahead and pick up here now.
Exactly, I always like the Byron pick. It's kind of like the default hero, the safe pick, the good early game hero. Is almost good in every team comp.
Yeah, he's probably the most well-rounded Clash laner. No real weaknesses, and you know, a few pretty good strengths. As you see, Maya round out their composition now. They have the Dachao, and what else here? The Sha gets, I think that's locked in here now. Okay, that's their composition here. A bit of a macro style composition, right? Using these teleports to go around the map and siege these towers to kind of catch people off, whereas not really that focused on team fighting like the Dolia one there. I couldn't quite catch the last one on the red side there, but we're going to see it when it comes in the game.
Yeah, exactly. Both teams know what they're doing. So they want to balance the team a little bit. We saw the early, we saw the Zia mostly for late game, so they want to pick some Byron, they want to take some early game heroes, so they balance the game.
Ooh, if we see a level 25 Arlie, that is going to be a show and a half, right? Arlie already an absolute menace there in the late game once she gets all her itemization going. But now with the potential of Zia to bless her as well on top of it, that's going to be exciting. I love watching the compositions where they just like pocket or funnel one like hero. Those are so fun to watch. And it looks like Neza was actually the final pick for the side of War here. So that is going to be their jungler there, Neza, being able to, you know, kind of lock on and pressure anyone on Team Maya that he wants to at a moment's notice with that Skyfall.
Yeah, and Neza actually a really good pick here since he's playing against four range heroes. So if you close the gap with Neza, they really can do anything against you since they're not melee, they don't have dashes, so you're gonna be comfortable playing this game.
It is going to be important to see how Neza's dive and Lapu Lapu combo up, because if he's kind of the only one in there, they can easily dispatch him there without the support of Lapu Lapu to keep him kind of alive and to control the enemies there.
Yeah, and the Neza pick's really good also since they're playing against the Dachao, so even if Dachao ult, you will never expect the Neza to follow up also in the enemy team.
Yeah, you can kind of teleport away, and then Neza's like, nope, I'm gonna still follow you anyway, right? I'm gonna follow you through the map there. And look at the Zia getting dropped really low already from the shot. We didn't really see what happened there, but it's a bit dangerous for Zia here. He's gonna go back and wave clear. Again, Zia not known for his early game, the exact opposite actually, and we're seeing him getting punished a bit so far.
Yeah, and we saw Ali maybe played a little bit aggressive there, and he got give them the first blood. Maybe he got second Dachao combo, maybe.
Absolutely. Look, what was he fishing there? It looks like he was fishing something else. I love that skin, by the way. The Zia fisherman skin. It is actually so perfect. It fits the hero amazingly there. Lapu Lapu throwing out some swords here. Good amount of action all throughout the map there. And wow, look at that. We look away for 1 second, and Chano gets taken out by the Arlie there. Usually Chano is a good kind of like neutralizer for Arlie, but not this game, it seems like.
Yeah, after getting first blood, the Arlie just came back and wanted to take the revenge since he was full HP and the Chano didn't reset yet. The Dachao already left him with the teleport, so...
Yeah, you gotta go ahead and respect the enemy's back timings there, right? Coming back there. I think Zia actually was the one that went down there. So Maya leading the game here 2-1, which is kind of unexpected because of how well War did yesterday. I thought they would be, you know, taking the wheel here at the start, but it seems like it's actually Maya here flipping the script on them.
Yeah, we actually didn't expect this since usually with the War limit team, they like to play for the red side, they like to play for the counter picks, but we didn't expect them to be losing 1k gold in the 2 minutes early.
Yeah, it is still early. If that first tyrant is really going to spell how the game goes there. And for a second, I thought the Chow was going to be caught. She was in the middle of 4 people, but she perfectly takes that teleport away back into base and gets back to safety.
Yeah, that's what I really like. I don't like about the Chow. You can just damage her, but the moment they go into the teleport, it's GG. But they actually have the early pick, so maybe Ali can push her away from the teleport.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, if people try to stand on the teleport and, you know, they get a little bit too close to Arlie, she can go ahead and disrupt that. That could be interesting. Maybe we'll see that coming sometime throughout this game here. Also, Lapu Lapu has a little bit of a push too, if I'm correct, when he takes the sword. So maybe he can throw that sword right on the teleport and kind of knock people out of it if he does it properly too. So they have a bit of interesting counterplay on the side of War when it comes to that reset that the Chow is able to provide.
Exactly, Lapu Lapu have also the small push with this first skill, and they also have a lot of AoE damage from the Lapu Lapu, so maybe they can just switch a target after one of them go to the base, and we're gonna see also the Neza maybe going for the backline, but he needs to choose who to target.
Look at this, a lot of poke being coming out here from the Chow. One of the highest poke heavy supports here, but full fight comes out here. Lapu Lapu with the ultimate onto 1 here. Can they convert this into anything here? As both sides are doing a good amount of damage, but kind of backing away. Again, they're kind of playing like we were mentioning last game, you know, kind of playing, walking on eggshells here. They know how important these games are, and they don't want to overcommit to anything, it feels like. Both teams are a little bit nervous.
Yeah, exactly, and Lapu Lapu tried to catch the Dacha, but she made it to base safely, and he wasted ult. And Neza also used this ult, so it's gonna be
there we go again.
Exactly.
There we go again. The Chow's just kind of baiting all of them there, but oh, look at that. Zia ends up getting baited and taken out here. And Maya is now leading the charge in this Tyrant fight. Everyone's getting dropped low. Byron goes in, is on 1 HP, goes down. Channel takes the double kill here. And Maya is in complete control of this first objective, it looks like, as War is forced to go back to base.
Yeah, exactly, especially if you have the she pick. She could also play a little bit tank, and maybe her job only to get some kills, or just say play safe for the channel, just save the channel from the Neza, and you will be fine.
Yeah, she's one of the best picks if your team is ahead, right? Because you don't need to worry about dealing damage if your team's ahead anyway. Arlie, look at that. Arlie is like, okay, you can win these team fights, but in the ones, I will take you out in the ones. That's the second time Arlie ends up taking out the channel.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like maybe some limit testing, but it's still hard to win against Chano. But Chano early game we know is not very strong. Late game after you buy the Daybreak, it's gonna be unstoppable. So he's gonna be losing some 1v1s against Arlie in the early game.
A lot of people like picking the channel into Arlie too, you know? It's a pretty neutral matchup, but when it's a neutral matchup, that just means there's a lot of outplay potential, right? And it seems like the Arlie on side of War is kind of outplaying the channel. They're taking those 2-1s here. She does get the revenge kill onto Arlie there, so she does not get too ahead, and Maya still holds a 4,000 gold lead here at 5 minutes, which is very, very impressive.
Yeah, exactly. The Shadow pick is really good against early and long, maybe, because you can just keep the range with your first skill. But if you go deep like early and you didn't respect the distance between you, she can just DPS you, you know, she can win the DPS fight after all.
As we're expecting here, the Shah ends up going anti-heal first item, building for that utility there to help out their team. They know that they don't need to be the stars here. And look at that. Wow, the damage from Arlie is just so explosive there. Just obliterating the Shah, it feels like, as Arlie barely maybe gets away with 1 HP here, fighting off these wolves here. Oh man, this fight is still going here. As we see Lapu Lapu go down as well. Neza forced to go ahead and back away. And if War does come back from this game, it is going to be off of Arlie's back as she's making some very impressive plays.
Yeah, that was wow from Arlie, like 1v3 3 people, and actually it's kind of hard for she to control the Arlie, so maybe she's going to try to go for another pick.
Here we go again. She's once again going in, trying to make some plays here. This Arlie is really, really ahead now here. So they're going to be... Oh, look at that. Wow. Another catch there. They are just not respecting the Arlie's kill range here, giving her a lot of free kills here. And I would say that if there was a character to not get free kills, it is probably Arlie, because she's going to be a menace later on if she's not already.
Exactly, if you feed the Arlie, and we know actually yesterday the team Walim picked the Arlie and he got the MVP carrying his team, so if you give some space to the Arlie, he's gonna be just unstoppable.
Wow, Agudo almost being taken out as well too. Every time this Arlie on screen, it seems like she just melts whatever character she's attacking at here. So Maya need to have a game plan in place to remove this Arlie in team fights. The Yang Juan has to really think about how he's going to go ahead and dive and dispatch of her, because if she does not go down early, they are going to shred all the members of Maya here.
Exactly, we see engage from Lapalov, but there is no follow-up yet. Veneza maybe was out of range, or maybe some miscommunication there, but maybe they
Oh, here we go. Arlie barely taking the Parasol away there. 1 HP again. It seems like Maya does have the game plan, though. They know who is the target on the side of War, as Arlie is holding all of their kills there. But going back to that bit of an ambush, they're very smart from the channel to hug the wall there, right? Even though he caught the full combo Lapu Lapu, he's just able to, use the soaring shot there to jump back over the wall into safety. And as you mentioned there, Neza, it seemed like he was not in range to respond with that Skyfall.
Yeah, exactly, and we see 3 people against the Yang Jiang, but he easily could just lifesteal with the ult, and probably he used the passive there to save some time until he came to his team camp.
Here we go. This is the mid to late game potential to the Chao, right? Resetting these tanks that are injured here. Yang Juan comes back full HP, ready for action once again here. We usually see the Chao paired with stuff like the Flowborn tank, but Yang Juan is also a great meta kind of replacement for him right now.
Yeah, and we see the itemization there. None of the 2 teams finished the Daybreaker item for the ADC, since we know both teams have the ADC to carry, and we see the ZST level 13, so we need to get fast for level 15 to give the buff for early.
I'd say most of the games we've seen so far in the circuit have not been very marksman focused, but this game, it seems like marksmans are going to be the star, and they're going to make or break their respective teams here. We see Radiance coming out, slowing the Neza under tower here, as Maya, that's what this composition does here. Look at that. They get onto that tower and immediately take it down there with the Agudo and all the summons with channel and stuff as well too, and just like that, they get 1 high ground on the board.
Yeah, exactly, and that Chao pick actually doing very well against Natalia. Every time Ali go in, she can just throw her combos in. That's why maybe they picked the Chiefs, because they don't care about Ali anymore. They have the Chao pick.
Yeah, they have a lot of ways to kind of control her when she jumps in, so she needs to really watch her footing, because one misstep and Arlie will go down here. They do have the Lapu Lapu to provide her a little bit more resistance there, so maybe she has a little bit extra breathing room than normal, but there's a lot of stuff to dodge, right? You have to dodge the dog from Yang Juan, you have to dodge the Chao combo, you have to dodge the pulls from Sha. And speaking of dodge, look at this, 3-man instantly onto... Oh, here we go, Skyfall coming out here. I'm surprised he's staying alive. Yang Juan stayed alive so long in that 3v1 here, even forcing out the Skyfall before he goes down.
Yeah, exactly, and we have to see 4 men to kill the Yang Jiang, and we wasted 4 ults at him, but the team was smart enough, trade Yang Jiang for the Dragon. It's almost really useful, actually.
Sometimes I question why Yang Juan is so good, and then I see him 1v3 for like 10 seconds, and have to be 1v4 to be killed. Maybe that's why Yang Juan is very strong there. And he's not really going full tank either, right? He's Bruiser itemization here with the Pure Sky, Axe of Torment, and the Curious there too. So Bruiser being able to survive so long is extremely impressive. Comes down to that passive, that ultimate providing resistances and crowd control immunity to help him get out of there. Well, until he died, of course.
Yeah, exactly, and the armor bots will help them a lot, since the enemy team have only 1 magical hero, and he's probably playing as a support, so... The physical damage
here we go. Look at look how deep that Neza dives in. He does get KO'd for it though, but he was so deep in the enemy team that taking out the Sha. Yang Juan goes down as well too. Both teams are kind of closing in the gap in kills, right? It seems like Maya was really leading on kills, but now War's been able to pick up a few, but they are still up 6,000 gold, because while War is catching up on kills, they're not catching up on objectives. 0 towers, 0 neutral objectives on the map there, as you see from the top of the screen.
Yeah, exactly, but 22 for 114 Mwalimi, and they killed the Shi also. Excellent. Looks like both teams, the Nisa went deep and the Yang Jiang went deep, and both teams took their time to kill their fighters.
Absolutely. This could be the first objective on the side of War here, and it's going to be the enhanced Shadow Tyrant. Wait, not if Agudo has anything to say about it, though. As a full fight breaks out, Lapu Lapu's in the pit. Let's see who it goes down to. Agudo ends up securing, it looks like. Yes, Agudo ends up securing and taking down Lapu Lapu, as Channel completely walks down and dispatches the remaining members of War. And this could be it. With the Shadow Overlord summon here, they could clear out any lane here. Neza trying desperately to hold off the members of Maya here in a 1v4, but this could be it. Ace for the side of War here. They have enough summons, they have enough minions minions to go ahead and take the crystal, and that is going to be game 1 going to Maya.
Yeah, that's the problem. One mistake can cost you the game, even though you were going for a comeback there. And the Nissa was bot lane trying to defend the tower, probably because they thought they have enough damage to take the Slayer and go back.
Absolutely. We saw the Arlie do really well that game, but I think the problem is they just got too out macroed that game, right? While they were trading kills back and forth and they were kind of close with the kills, every time they traded a kill back, they didn't get a tower. They didn't get any jungle. They didn't get an objective. All they got were just those kills, right? And that was why they were down 7,000 gold. And then for the side of Maya Street here, they dropped every here and there, but that's after they got 1 or 2 towers. That's after they got the Azure Golem or the Crimson Golem or the Tyrant there, and because of that, they were slowly able to accumulate their economy there.
Yeah, exactly. And it looks like the Zia pick didn't work very well for them. It looks like he got the level 15 a little bit late to boost the early, even though Ali had a really good early game, but it's still fine. I think it's the first game. 2 teams wasted some really good picks, but I think both of them can have a really good comeback the second game.
Looking at the ratings here, and from what we've seen in the game, it felt like it was Arlie against the world, right? Every time War was getting kills, it was because of the Arlie. It was because of these kind of solo kills. I wouldn't even consider them really team-wide plays where they feed the Arlie. Arlie got so many solo kills there. 4 kills, more than everyone on their team combined here. And we can see in the ratings as well too, right? Everyone on that team got a B or lower, other than Arlie, which got an A+.
Yeah, exactly. And if you send the Yang Jiang, you send the Nisa to just deal a little bit, win some time with the early, you have the Chanu pick and he finished almost all the items, so you can just kill everyone in the team fight.
Absolutely, and we see the Neza here's itemization here. He's opting to go the full tank Neza, which is why we saw him survive so long in that 1v4 kind of in the backline there. But that's going to mean he's not going to be applying that much of a assassination threat to the carries on the side of Maya Street here. We see that Agudo actually opt to go damage here, and when Agudo goes damage, he just destroys objectives and towers so quickly, and he doesn't really have to worry about, like something like an Axe of Torment style, a Neza kind of sky falling on top of him, because that's a full tank Neza. He has a good amount of time to kite back, wait for Shi to go ahead and peel for him, wait for the Chow to maybe give him a portal to get out.
Yeah, exactly. Probably their plan was you have the Nizha to go for the backline, you have the Lapu Lapu can help you, they have the Byron maybe can flank. But if you look at the other side, they have the Chanu with the knockback, they have the Agudo with some life steal and some movement speed, you have the Shis that can slow them, and you have the most important hero, Dacha, with the skills that can really slow and knock up the enemy.
Yeah, Maya Street here, they have a heavy disengage composition. Against a composition like that, it is going to be really hard to play the Neza because all you do on Neza is just dive in, right? He only has go in, he doesn't have the go out button there, and he's against all these heroes that can go ahead and disrupt him and apply slows, anti-heal, crowd control to him and give him a hard time. And on top of it, he's not carrying that much damage himself. He's opting to go to the full tank variation to buy more time for his team to kind of, take down the Yang Juan and the front line for side Maya Street. But it was just a little bit too much there. The game could be summed up in that play there, where they took 4 people to take out the Yang Juan, and while all that was happening, Maya Street was taking a tower here, taking a golem here, taking a tyrant here, and for 1 kill, they lost so much more.
Yeah, exactly. Even with the early game lead, they still couldn't do anything with it, since it's really hard actually if you play early against team comp like that. The moment you go in and you get some combos from the Dachau, even if you dodge the combos and you go back, you still will be with no skills, so it's gonna be hard even fighting the Agodo, fighting the Shi, fighting anyone exactly.
Yeah, there's just too much stuff to dodge. As we mentioned in the middle of the game, you have to dodge the Shia pulse. You have to dodge the doggo coming out from Yang Juan, right? You gotta dodge the Chow's waves there. No matter how good you are on Arlie, there's only a finite amount of stuff you can dodge. You can't just dodge you're not, there's just too much stuff being thrown at you, and that's what we saw that game. There's too much stuff there. Arlie performed really well that game, getting themselves a pretty nice individual lead in the early game. But at the end of the day, this is a team game, and you guys have to do well together as a team.
Yeah, probably I would say the 4 other members for early, they didn't shine enough in the early game, they didn't have enough gold, so the team might just ignored the other heroes, and just every time they see the early, just focus the early, and they know it's the carry anyway.
Yeah, it's a carry, and they happen to be carrying all the gold there. It makes their game plan really streamlined, right? When you play a diver and you know for sure who to go ahead and dive there, that's a great feeling, right? You can just go straight into there and not worry about anyone else. And the other members, they didn't really have the highest threat potential. Zia, not really known for his damage threat, so especially when Zia falls behind, there was 0-3 that game, he didn't have much gold. like you said, they just ignored him. You know, he drops that ultimate there, and then they just walk through it, don't take much damage, and jump right onto the Arlie.
Yeah, exactly. They know exactly who to send to the deep. They can just send the Yang Jiang, and at the same time, you can just keep the Shi next to the Shanu to defend them, or to the Agudu. Since both of them are range, and you have the Chao, they can follow up with the ult. If someone is low, you can just teleport him back to the base and bring him back.
Absolutely. We're going into match 2 here. This could potentially be match point for Maya Street. If they win this one, they take home the crowns there. They take home all that cash prize. Second place and first place, the difference is 880 USD. That is a big jump to be getting in an afternoon here. So they got to play well and make sure to lock that up. For the side of War, they're probably a little bit shell-shocked, right? They're not used to losing in general. We saw from their record, they win everything, it feels like. So this has definitely shocked them, especially in the grand finals as well too. Seems like they're sticking to the same game plan here with the Diadea ban, whereas Maya is actually going to opt to ban some of the heroes they actually used already, like the Yang Juan, and just removing the Zhang Fei as well too, as it seems like they have a game plan to maybe potentially take the Liang Po if they give it to them. And War, once again, they go ahead and they opt for the pay ban. Now Maya for sure gets the Arlie because War is not able to take it away.
Yeah, exactly. But if we look at the history of Team War, they actually lost some single games, but they're still doing well and they won all the series. So maybe it's fine for them to lose one game to give some heroes. You know, after all, it's a global ban pick, and they can just, and they're famous for the flexible heroes, and they play maybe one of the most interesting hero in this team comps.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough game to go ahead and take, though, because as we mentioned, Maya is going to have the Arlie in their back pocket 100% here. They're for sure picking it one of these next 2 picks. They already have the Mai as well, and I think War's going to go ahead and need to take something like the Liang Po. No, they actually opt to not take the Liang Po. So the Liang Po is available, the Arlie is available. Maya has a really core composition if they want to here. Let's see what they actually opt to actually take. They're hovering the Luban. There's no way we're picking Luban number 7 over Arlie, right, Xion? What's going on here?
Yeah, no, I don't think. Even against Fuzi, I don't know. They still need to touch out to save him from there. But we see actually for the first time Team Maya playing the Mai Shiranyu. We didn't see yesterday, even though they played 3 games. And they didn't show any game.
They opt to go for the D Renji instead. Okay, not as surprising as the Luban, but still a little bit surprising to know that they're giving away the Arlie and they're not opting to play the Arlie. I guess in their mind, worst case scenario, they lose this game, they can get it next game if they really go ahead and want it. But the Flowborn Tank being picked up first here for the side of War here. Now, Flowborn Tank is one of those heroes that are very strong, but requires a lot of synergy. They need something like the Chao, maybe a Sunbin to help, propel it, because it's a very slow hero. I always call it the brick. It's just a huge tank in the front. That's all it could really do, right? It needs that support, that little bit extra juice to help it get on top of the enemies here. So let's see how War opts to go ahead and draft around it to give it a little bit extra support. I guess the Futsu being able to lock someone up is a good way to help out the Flowborn Tank already, right? But their support pick is going to be crucial this game, I think.
Yeah, exactly. The Fuzzy with the Lady Gen, it's kind of the Fuzzy ult with the meltdown from the Lady Gen is gonna be really good combo. And as you said, the Flowborn pick, it's really slow, so you kind of need some movement speed. Maybe some Bin, maybe that Chao. Probably, but from what you see, actually Maya got that Chao banned, so hard luck with that.
I would really like to see War actually, instead of the Lady Gen, just take the Dachao immediately, right? Because when you show Futsu and you show the Flowborn Tank, and Maya already played the Dachao, right? It's pretty clear cut what they're going to ban there. They're going to remove the Chao. Whereas the Lady Gen, I could see being picked last anyway. It's not a very high priority target, but look at this. What did I just mention, right? The Chao Sunbin immediately removed. Anytime a Flowborn Tank comes into play, everyone knows, oh, he needs a Sunbin and a Chao. Let's just remove both of those. So I would have liked for War to go ahead and solidify their combo in their first 3 picks to not allow the enemy to kind of break away their combo pieces. But speaking of combo pieces, a Yaria comes out. Now that's not something you see every day at all.
Yeah, and we see the Yaria without even picking the farm laner first, so it's a really interesting pick. And
Marco Polo? Do I hear a Marco Polo coming out here in this game potentially?
It could be, since they picked the farm laner and they don't have enough bans, so it could be really a Marco Polo game.
It's looking to me like a Marco Polo game here. Maya, they don't really have much of a response to it. They do pick the Yuan, which is actually a really good counter to the Marco Polo, in my opinion. Being able to go into the Unending Sorrow when he is in his Fevered Barrage is actually pretty good. As well as Fatih is just a well-rounded... Fatih's like Byron. You know, he's Byron 2.0. He's the new version of Byron. You're never sad about him. Look at that. Immediately, no hesitation, War goes like, they already had their game plan. They spelled it out. They go ahead and instantly lock in the Marco Polo. And this is going to be a nostalgic game for those of you guys that play ranked in peak mode, right? Because we see Marco Polo Yaria a good amount on the ladder. We don't see in professional play too much. So it's going to be fun to see how these players go ahead and pilot this combo.
Yeah, it looks like the team Molimi putting everything on the farm laner. Probably they give a lot of combos in their farm laner as the carry, so they give him the hard carry picks like the Marco Polo, and they just want to help him a little bit, so they give him the Yaria there to help him.
Yeah, this composition, it takes some heart to pull off, to be honest, right? They're on match point here, and they're busting out Marco Polo Yaria for the finals. This definitely takes some heart, but I could also see the farm laner there too. You know, last game, I'm popping off, give me a Yaria, I'll carry, man, all right? And that's what we're hopefully going to see here in this match, as it's going to maybe go to a game 3.
Yeah, I do really like the Marco Polo hero with the Yaria picks. It's going to be help him a lot actually with the first kill, with the ult, with the shield, with everything. But at the same time, it's good against Ogren, but you don't forget you're playing against D-Range, which can ult you to cancel your ult. You can use your second to cancel your ult with the stun from Marco Polo.
Yeah, the positioning from War's marksman and Marco Polo is going to be very pivotal, because while Yaria is a great boost to any ally, if you get caught out, that's a 2-for-1 special usually, right? Speaking of 2-for-1 special, here we go, 2-for-1 special going on here. Stun comes out, gets the Yuan dropped super low there, almost getting taken out there for a second. And it looks like a fight's breaking out. Wait, this is not good. Yaria goes down here. Maybe another kill coming out for the Ogren as he uses path passing into the enemy jungle. So no, that started so well. It looked like for the side of War, but it has ended disastrously here. Flowborn tank jumping in and getting dropped as well too. 1 minute into the game, 3 members of War has gone down already. This is the opposite of what they need going into match point.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like the Johan tried to deny the camp from Marco Polo, since it's a very known move to go for the small camp before even the win catch the go bot. So, but looks like it went terribly for them, even with the early game from Mai and everything. It looks like the Fatih even rotated from Clash Lane since they have a prio.
Zenon, in my ladder games, usually when this happens, someone on my team goes into all chat and says GG, all right? So hopefully War holds on here and goes ahead and has the capacity to play through this, because this is a one of the worst starts I have ever seen here. 3-0 going in favor of Mai here, and that almost assuredly secures their early game advantage.
Yeah, exactly. And don't want to give 3 kills, especially if you're playing against early team comp like Ogren and Mai, and they still also have the D-Range for late game and the Yohuan. So it's going to be actually a really hard game in the early game. So you better use some plan, you need any synergy to survive this game.
For sure. And we see Maya. Here's a little pro tip for the junglers at home, right? A lot of competitive tank junglers opt to go attack speed boots, actually, to help them actually clear. But I actually don't see that too much when I see Ogrens on ladder. So consider going those attack speed boots to help out your clear, and then swap them to defensive ones later on. Here we go. Here's the Ogren here. All 5 members of my street. Look how densely packed they are in the side of War jungle. They know the timers on the blue there, so they are all there for that invade. War is forced to go ahead and try and defend it, but Mai just sneaks up on the Lady Jen and takes them out. Another 2 KOs. This game is complete and total domination for the side of Maya so far here, as they start the game not even 3 minutes in, and it is 6-0. What is going on? War is knocked off balance today.
Yeah, exactly. That's why you need to pay some attention in the drafting, and it's not always about I need tank, I need OP picks, I need comp picks. You need sometimes to know which hero can get prio. If you lose all priors on all the sides, you can't play the game basically.
I think War kind of overextended a little bit going for that kill on the Yuan in the early game, right? That got their bot lane in a really bad position there, and when they were retreating there, Maya was right there to go ahead and catch him, and that just absolutely flipped the momentum of the game, and now it's just snowballing out of control as Maya is up almost 3,000 gold here at 3 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. And you have the Ogren pick, which is really strong early game. You have the Mai playing against Lady Jen, which she can't clear the wave alone, basically.
Oh, look at this! Beautiful ultimate coming out from Marco Polo and a stun on the 2. That's exactly what he needs. He waited for the Yuan to run out of that ultimate to go in, and it looks like War is going to be on the board here. They need a few more of those if they want to close this gold gap that they have made for themselves here.
Exactly, since they have the Marco Polo as carry, they need to give some kills for Marco Polo, and it looks like he might get a kill there.
So close there. 1 shot away from taking out the D-Renji here. But Mai is just scooping up kills around the map. We don't even see her on camera. She's so sneaky about it. Takes out the Lady Jen again, and Lady Jen once again having a rough game.
Yeah, exactly, and you can see the Ogre I'm playing, I think, full damage build. It's really interesting since they don't have any tanks. Maybe they just rely on the Yuhuan tank to face check for them. So
hey, if you're up 3,000 gold, you could build whatever you want. It feels like that's free items at that point, right? He's up a whole item for free on the enemies there. But yeah, definitely Ogren tank, not something you see every day here. In competitive, 99% of the games are going to be tank Ogren. So it's interesting to see how the damage Ogren plays out. This game feels the most like a ladder game I've seen yet, and it is match point grand finals.
Yeah, exactly. That's
oh, look at that beautiful flash.
Yeah,
stun onto 2.
Yeah, sadly there was no follow-up, but you see the ult from Ogre and the ult from Vetir, and they trying to get some kills, but they get the kill from the Ogre, and Lady Shen try to go back, and Marco Polo and Diada will just die.
War they have some life to them here, but you know, it feels like they take 1 step forward with a kill and then 2 steps back as they lose a tower and multiple allies as well as jungle. Look at this. The gold, this is probably the quickest gold lead we've ever seen, and there's not even a pay in the game. It's just really Mai. It is about a 5,000 gold lead 5 minutes into the game here. This is on track to be one of the quicker games here, as crazy as it is to say. There's no pay in the game, which is the most surprising.
Yeah, exactly. The My Pick actually is doing a lot, and they have
they're getting these picks. Look at this. They try to catch the Mai here with the Futsu ultimate, but it looks like Mai is not locked in. Oh, okay. Mai ends up going down. Mai was winning that 1v2 for a little bit before Fullborn Tank comes in. They do once again trade, but it seems like all War can do is get the kills. They're not able to trade those objectives we were mentioning. They're not able to get these towers.
Yeah, exactly. Mai could win sometime with her stuns, but the team follow up, but they still could trade 2 kills for 2.
For sure here. It seems like this is like the first time in the game where we have some time to breathe here, where there's not something crazy going on. Both teams kind of backing up, taking a little bit of a breather here because there's been 6 minutes of constant fighting, and for War, it's low-key been 6 minutes of constant dying here. So it is good that they get a little bit of time for themselves here to clean up some of these waves, recoup, and get ready for these objectives coming up. We have Tyrant coming up in a minute 30, and if there's any way for War to go ahead and claim that, it could break him out of this rut here.
Yeah, and it really looks like Maya just putting everything in the early game, since we know the Ogre field damage is not the best in the late game, but and if you also play against Lady Zen, you play against Flowborn, so it's gonna be kind of easy to kill, but probably from their side they see the Marco Polo Yari is just the carry, so what about we build more damage and kill the Marco Polo, that's it.
Look at this, Maya just brute forcing down this tower with the Spritlings. If you guys didn't know, the Spritlings are great at tanking the tower there, allowing them to basically take that out without any minions. That's amazing there. But what I can feel from Maya's gameplay is they're running hot right now. They're feeling good. They might not be making the most calculated plays, but they're playing off of pure momentum. The Ogren just ran into the jungle there and just dropped the ultimate and traded. Can they keep this momentum going, or can War capitalize on this high that Maya seems to have right now and get some punishes? Beautiful ultimate coming out from Marco Polo onto 2, but is it enough firepower? It is just enough to take out the D-Renji, and the U1 is dropped onto 1. This is what we need from War. This is the life we need from them. They're giving these kills over to the Marco Polo, and he is squarely back into the game here, I would say.
Yeah, and you see another mistake from Team Maya. Maybe they playing a little bit comfortably here, but usually for them, just want to kill the Marco Polo, but if you look at the other side, they have Marco Polo, they have the Fuzi, which is one of the best heroes in the late game.
For sure. Now it looks like they're gonna get their first objective of the game here as well too, and they opt to go ahead and go for the Overlord, which is interesting. Sure, the Tyrant isn't up. It seems like War's just like, we just gotta get anything on the board right now. We're not in the best spot, but this is going to give them Primal Bond for the Tyrant spawn here coming up in 30 seconds. It's not an enhanced version, so it's not going to reset the debuff. So Maya is almost assuredly going to take this one down.
Yeah, exactly. So they want to take almost everything. So probably they're going to take the objective. They try to take some camps and wait for the 10 minutes Maya to get the double objective, probably.
Radiance coming out, Yuan getting a lot of vision and kind of poke for their team, but also getting herself in a bit of trouble here, it looks like, as she gets dropped really low, forced to use the ultimate defensively, and it's still not enough as Marco Polo chases her down and takes her out with that ultimate. Fatih forced to retreat as well now too. Full on fights break out. It seems like War's composition is finally coming together here. They're feeding Marco Polo all these kills, and he's online. And the side of Maya here is getting a little bit overzealous for vision and getting themselves caught out.
Yeah, exactly. We know Marco Polo is actually playing with the stun this time, not playing with the Purify. I think it's gonna be a little bit hard for him late game against the Mai, but we saw the ult flash from Fuzi to protect the Marco Polo the moment Mai showed up.
Here we go. We're into the mid game here. The enhanced versions of the objectives are coming up here. It looks like there's not enough time for Maya to go ahead and take it out. They only had a few seconds on it there, though. So good job for War for taking that one out. Fullborn tank coming in with the double ultimates, knocking the Yuan up and down here. And it looks like the Yuan is the target for War. They keep getting taken down. Marco Polo is a little bit too deep, though. They take out the bot lane of Maya, but they trade back for it, though, as Ogren gets that shutdown on the Marco Polo.
Yeah, exactly. The faster you go up, the faster you go down. Since they got a lot of kills, a lot of shutdowns, and they gave it back to them. We looked like from 8k gold, we back to 2k gap.
Yeah, great comeback from side of War, and it is not easy. When you're down that much gold that early as well, too, it feels almost impossible. But War, they had the tenacity. They're making it back, and right now, they're opting to trade objective. It's like, no, they're coming here and they're fighting for it. War says, no, we will not do any trades. This is going to be both of our objectives here. Let's see who gets to the smite here. Ogren does end up getting a smite, drops the Conductor Souls on 3, gets dropped really low, and he dies for that Shadow Overlord there.
Yeah, even though they got the
seems to win the fight. War's winning the fights, yeah.
Yeah, even though they got the Slayer, but what it cost, it looks like two of them died already, and they trying to get the Marco Polo there, but yeah, they got him nice.
Yuan getting some revenge there, it feels like, because there's so many times Marco Polo just kind of bursted down the Yuan and took her out. She had to do it one time there, runs down the Marco Polo and trades for her, which is a good trade support for Marksman. That definitely gives Maya some breathing room after they lost some members in that Overlord secure there. Let's see where they opt to use their summon here now as War goes and starts the Tyrant now that Maya has the Primal Bond debuff.
Yeah, and it looks like Team Maya starts struggling because they don't have a real front line, to be honest. And we see the Fuzi even going with the Yari, and he can easily kill this Fatih since he's alone in the sideline.
Look at all the shielding on that Fuzi there. It looked like he was going to go down. Yaria comes out of nowhere and drops like thousands of health in shielding on it there. And Fatih forced to back away. Doesn't even want to try and fight that here. Here we go. Marco Polo going in. Another beautiful ultimate there. Immediately eviscerates the Mai. Everyone else is forced to flash away. And it seems like this Marco Polo is starting to be a problem. They don't have enough firepower to cut him down. Okay, Yuan coming in with the Unending Sorrow flash to get on top of the Marco Polo, but he's so durable. Marco Polo, one of these marksmen that itemizes defensively late game with that Frigid Charge and potentially Succubus coming up later on, that he is able to just tank that up and not go down, especially with the Yara shield. And this game that was looking absolutely lost for War is kind of, I'd say, tempo-wise going in their favor. They're still down 2,000 gold, but they've been consistently winning these fights.
Yeah, exactly. You play Marco Polo, you have a really high mobility. Almost no one can focus you. Like the Ogan doesn't have the range. Mai, you can maybe dodge the skills, and the range you can just outrange them. So it's gonna be a little bit easier for him to play the game now.
Maya has to be getting a little bit worried here, you know? They were so confident. They were like on such a heater, it felt like, in the early game. Now they're getting a bit of a reality check, you know? You could lose, and they have been losing fights here. They still have a little bit of a gold lead, but they lose one more. That is gonna be squandered away here. Let's see how they play out this mid-late game. This is their match point game here. So Maya, they want to close this out. They do not want to bring it to game 3 and give the momentum over to War side.
Yeah, exactly. For me, to be honest, I don't mind losing a game that I already losing, but a winning game, then I lose. It's really
that
hard.
feels the worst. When you throw a game, and if Maya loses this game, I think it would be considered a textbook throw here.
Yeah, you could say throw from 8k gold to getting all the shutdowns, and look at the Marco Polo, he's almost unstoppable here.
Wow, look at this. Once again, another double kill for the side of Marco Polo. Maya is just not able to win any fights. And from 8,000 gold, it drops to 0, drops into the negatives here now as War take out 4 members of Maya. Are they going to push for a high ground here, potentially? It looks like.
Yeah,
What
they were
an
winning
amazing
already.
comeback.
They were winning already with losing in the gold, but now they have the gold revenge and they have the Marco Polo Yaria and they have the Fuzi here. So it looks like
That
GG
might
for
be
the
it
team
there. That's
Yeah,
an ace coming out from war. If they manage these minions effectively, they might be able to push into the base. It is going to be a little bit dangerous. Ogren and Yuan and Fati are coming up in a sec here. They might just opt to take a high ground and retreat. But wow, what a momentum shift there in the grand finals. And it had to be in the grand finals for these big, powerful upset games, huh?
Yeah, exactly. And you have the Ogre now. It's kind of going back from since he played for the early game and he played full damage. It's kind of hard now for him to survive and he can do anything against the Fuzi or the Flowborn.
Here we go. They get their Overlord as well, too. That is going to completely shift the momentum of the game. If it was not in War's favor before, it is surely in it now, as they're able to summon that down and clear out a wave of their choice. Next push could be the last. Maya has been losing fights nonstop, literally losing the last 4 and 5 fights in a row, but they need to go ahead and break out of that rut and win the next one if they want a chance at winning this game.
Yeah, exactly. You have the Flowborn, which is so tanky. You have the Lady Jan, which is so much better late game since you have your second can bounce more and you can just slow the enemy team, give some space for the Marco Polo to play, and you can easily push the towers.
Here we go. War opts to summon it into the clash lane there to apply pressure on both sides of the map at the same time as they take the bottom tier 2. Anti-heal coming out from Yaria. Itemization is getting to the max now for a lot of War's members here. Definitely the Marco Polo. They do want to end this game now if possible before Maya makes a miraculous comeback like they did. High ground towers are down in the mid and bottom lane, but everyone on the side of War is relatively injured here. It looks like they're going to opt to try and turn this push into an end here. Can Maya hold out, or will this be a game 3? Conductor Souls comes out, but it is not enough. War with one of the most impressive comebacks in Honor Kings I've ever seen. They're down 8,000 gold, give away 3 kills in the early game, and they come all the way back from that and won. If we were to bet on this game, I would have never guessed they would come back in such an amazing fashion.
Yeah, one of the big mistakes the team I did there, they didn't just take the towers, which is you're supposed to at least take the full towers and you can maybe try to play it safe a little bit, just take the camps, take the big objectives, but it looks like they just want to go for the kills and finish the game, but it kind of went back for them, and the Marco Polo Fuzi just more of late game.
Wow, that is just, that is very tragic, because as Benan was mentioning, like if you lose a game, you're already losing, you kind of know what's going on, right? But if you lose a game where you're on top of the world, you're up 8,000 gold, that is the worst feeling possible. They're going to need to shake that off and refocus and get their mentals back in line, because we have match point grand finals coming up. It is 1-1. The winner of this match is a 880 USD swing. In the span of 10, maybe 20 minutes here, there's a lot of money that could be changing hands here. Both sides need to go ahead and lock in here. The momentum is definitely in War's favor. You know they're feeling good. You know they're high-fiving each other, giving each other fist bumps after a comeback victory of those proportions.
Yeah, and even though the team comp didn't work very well in the early game, they somehow made it to the late game, and it looks like they have a really comfortable pick. We saw them really good ult flashes from the Fuzi, like when the Mai just dash in. We saw the ult flash when they're trying to finish the game on the farm lane. It looks like he really liked the hero and he's really good with it.
This just shows you, even when you're ahead, you can never give your enemies an inch, okay? You think you're giving them an inch, but they're going to pull and they're going to try and get a mile. And that's exactly what happened there. Mayashi was given a little bit of kills here and there to Marco Polo, and then that propelled him back in there. He started the game like 0-3 or something, and he ends the game 8-6-12 here. Super impressive KD. He gets that SS with 6 deaths, which is not easy. I've had games where I'm like 9-1, 9-2, 10-1, and I don't get the SSS, and he gets it with 6 deaths. That just goes to show how much impact and damage the Marco Polo provided in that game, even though he had such a rough start.
Yeah, exactly. And the Marco Polo, after you finish maybe second, third item, you buy some armor for the early game, you buy the stun item, then you buy some magic defense for the Mai Shiranyo, and you have the Yaria sitting on you. She's gonna shield you, she's gonna have the heal, she have almost everything, and it's gonna be really hard to come back from that.
Yeah, because of Marco Polo's itemization, he kind of hits a critical mass where he kind of does infinite damage and you cannot kill him as well too. And we saw that in the game, especially with a Yari on him. He gets that shielding, which gives him more effective health, on top of him already building a good amount of durability in that Frigid Charge, and that Succubus made him super hard to deal with. And for Assassins, once you cannot take out your target in one rotation, you're never going to take him out. Marco Polo will dispatch you and then heal back up with that Doomsday.
Yeah, even if you play against Mai, you still can dodge some skills. Even if you can dodge and you can't ambush, you play against the Yarya, so she can just use her first skill on every bush, and you can just do anything with Mai.
Yeah, it is going to be match point here coming up. A lot of picks are off the table now, and I would say it's interesting. The Arlie is still available for Maya Street, right? That could be something that they were saving for potentially this game here. The Argrin and a good amount of stuff is removed, but this final game is really gonna put both of these teams to the test. Both their wins, I would say, are pretty dominant. Even though War was really struggling in the early game there, once they got hold of the game, they never let it go. So let's see who is going to be a cut above. So right now, it is dead even for me.
Yeah, exactly. Even though we saw the Team Maya almost dominating the two games, we saw a really good comeback from Team Molimi, showing that they still have it. They have the patience, they have the skills, they have the macro, they have everything to win the game.
For sure. Let's go ahead and get ready. We have the third game coming up. I'm trying to think about these drafts. What could be the pivotal pick here? Hey, they still have a chance to pick the Sunset, all right? I still got a little bit of equity in that hot take there. I doubt it's going to come out. It's just been, it fell off so much. I don't know why. I still love them. The set sail is so fun to play, but we're probably not going to see it come out here. I think both teams are kind of going to return to form here. This is the final game no matter what. So both teams are going to pick up their comfort picks. They're going to pick picks that, win or lose, they're not going to have any regrets afterwards. So I'm very excited to see how this final game plays out.
Yeah, if we're gonna say Sansi pick, maybe you see it from Team Molly. For instance, Team Maya play some Gadia, they play some Liang, they play some squishy heroes on the support, and you need some squishy heroes to play against with the Sansi, because if you play against Liampu, you play against Lapu, all of them can block your ult.
Yeah, it's like running a ship into a brick wall, right? And while this is going to be the final game for the players, it's also going to be the final chance for you viewers at home to go ahead and win some prizes. Exclamation point giveaway, and make sure to join up on all the giveaways where you can win a gift card and even up to an iPhone Pro Max, which is going to be very interesting. So make sure you guys join up on all that. Read the moderators' messages in chat, as well as join the Discord and check out the description. But here we go. We're into the final game here. Game 3, a winner will be crowned. We see the pay being banned out from War. They do not want to even entertain the idea of that coming up, as well as Day 1 MVP Ada being banned out as well too. They respect the Ada pick here. Maya banning the Mai and the Sha because they played them before, and they do not want to give a chance for the enemies to play them here.
Yeah, I do understand the my pick. I do the my ban, and do understand the Tiger bans. Looks like a general bans, but because the heroes are OP. But if you see some Shi bans, probably you have something in your mind.
For sure. And then we see a Liang come out. Maya once again, or the Diadea. This could be the Diadea Arlie bot lane. One of the strongest bot lanes in the game could be coming out here. War has not banned the Arlie, and they have no ability to take it away as they have played it already here. I cannot imagine Maya picks anything other than Arlie unless their marksman player just doesn't really play it.
Yeah, exactly. We see finally the Diadea pick, but maybe we have a chance now to see the Sansi pick from the Team War Limi. But we see the Zhangfei, we see the Flowborn pick. Zhangfei, we know, is really good against the Diadea, since you can just ult him in the farm lane, or go, or if the Diadea go in anyone, you can just ult both of them. And maybe we can see the Dharma pick, what Team Maya got. Actually, I was expecting the Dharma pick from Team War Limi.
Yeah, Dharma gets picked up here. Maya does not want to give War the chance to go ahead and lock that up. But I'm very surprised the Arlie's getting through. I have to imagine Maya is not part of their game plan to play that Arlie here, because I've never seen Arlie been let through so many times here. War, let's see if they're gonna go ahead and take their chances, but they might go ahead and I'm getting word that we are gonna get a repick here, because Flowborn was picked already from my understanding. So it is going to be a redraft coming up here now. Okay, a bit of a mistake. It happens. Flowborn, one of those heroes that not a lot of, I don't even know all the full rules about it coming up sometimes. But Flowborn, since they've played Flowborn tank, they are not going to be eligible to play the Flowborn marksman now. So there will be a redraft coming up here. I'm not sure if the first few picks are going to be enforced. It is probably going to be same bands and pick up until the Flowborn is picked here.
Yeah, and the Flowborn was the second pick, so probably you're gonna see the band the same, maybe the Diadea pick, and we're gonna see maybe new heroes. Yeah, it's kind of confusing for so many people, because in the competitive, usually if you pick one of the Flowborns, you can pick the rest of them. So and that's how Golden works.
It's a little bit interesting how it could throw people off, because if you ban one of the Flowborns, from my understanding, the other one is not banned. So you can ban a Flowborn tank, and you can play Flowborn Marksman, for example. But if you play Flowborn Marksman, you can no longer play any more Flowborns. So it's a common mistake here. Happens to the best of us here. That's probably the first Dachi ban I've ever seen in competitive because they're probably going to be redrafting, but that's going to be fun. We see they're finishing out the drafts here, I think, because you got to start up the game before it can go ahead and end up here. But yeah, interesting stuff on both sides here. Maya, very interestingly, is not going to pick the Arlie. So War, that's something they might draft around, that they don't have to worry about something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And actually, I do like the Daji pick sometimes if you play against hero like Luna, you play against Jig. You kind of make their life harder to get if you pick some Daji, actually, with the instance you see.
Milady!
Milady
okay, I know they're picking the Milady because there's going to be a redraft there, and it's for fun. But Milady is actually pretty good sometimes, right? We saw a little tiny bit of Milady in the KWC, and it has like 100% win rate. Because they only really pick it in the perfect situations. Milady has a great matchup against someone like the Mai. But yeah, we are going to have to redraft here. So back to a little bit of a yapping session here. But this final game is so important. $880 is the difference between first and second place. Both teams are going to go home with at least 1,000 USD. So even second place is going home with over 1,000 USD, but the winner gets home 1,885 USD. Interesting number they got lined up here, but you definitely do want that extra bit. And that's why it's so important that we make sure this final game here is played properly here and with the same, with the correct drafts here. So we're going to go ahead and get a redraft done right there.
Yeah, exactly. 800 diff. It's kind of a lot for just playing one or two games diff there. Yes. So you gotta be careful with the mistakes you do, and because you can win any game and you can lose any game, like we saw this game.
The absolute adrenaline these players must have, right? They are 10 minutes, maybe 12, 15, minutes away from $800. That's a big swing there, So these players, they're getting a little bit cooler here. The nerves might be getting them a bit. That's why the Flowborn Marksman came up, right? Because they're just so ready to get in the action, and they want to go ahead and take home that victory. Both teams want to take home that victory there. So we have a little bit of a delay here until that goes ahead and gets set up. But this gives more time for the viewers at home to go ahead and join those giveaways, guys, right? Get your chance to win some gift cards as well as an iPhone Pro Max as well, too. Make sure to follow the links and such in the chat and join up, as well as joining the Discord. So support formats like this, or maybe join with your university, and maybe I get to cast some of your games in the future.
Yeah, exactly. And talking about the finishing the games, the moment you win, usually if you destroy the crystal, except that there is always a chance to lose. We saw a really good games from the 8G Wolves in the KPL finals, and 10k gold lead, 3 towers. They didn't have any tower and they still pulled off the game. So even for me, sometimes when I do some mistakes and finishing the games, I just think about it. Do they have a really good late game? If not, I still have a really good chance. If they have a really good late game, it's already GG. You throw the idea you deserve to win.
Yeah, and while we're getting this resituated, we're going to have a little bit of a short break to make sure that all the players get back into the lobby and we can get the appropriate drafts and everything ready for the final game. As mentioned, this is the grand finals. This game is important. We're going to take a little bit extra time to make sure that it's done perfectly and the way it's supposed to be. So we're going to go throw it over to Big. Stay right here. When we come back, it's going to be the finals in the grand final.
Sorry, you were in my way. Time, it flows like a river. The white dove is here. You're not the one I'm waiting for. A quill and some ink to seal time within the letters. A glimpse in a dream. We've missed each other.
Hear the counsel of the ancients. We have all heard legendary stories of the great defenders known as the Warriors of Peace. That's us! You're not paying attention. Look me in the eyes. I'll only show you this once. Not paying attention in class? Sit next to me then. I'm not sure I can phrase a sentence simple enough for you to understand.
No matter how far I go, I never forget the way back home. Home is wherever your family is.
Welcome back, everyone. Had to, put you guys on a little bit of a cooler here before we got into the grand finals, right? You got to save the best for last, but now we are ready to hop back into the action. The grand finals between Warlemy and Maya Street here. They are both 1-1. There was a bit of a draft situation, so we had a bit of a redraft now. We're going to go right back to where we were before Flow 1 was picked, and the action is going to ensue.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go back to the drafting, and we saw actually some early and some Marco Polo, and was one of the, maybe I would say, the most picked hero from Team Warlemy. So I'm actually looking forward to see what they're gonna pick next.
Yeah, we saw a little bit of drafts come out already. If I remember, they first picked Liang. Yeah, I think Maya Street has the Liang here, which is. He always sneaks into the finals, it feels like, right? In Liang, Ultimate Battles always have Liang as well, too, because he's such a tried and true roamer. You go ahead, you have the howl, you speed up, and you grab someone, and your team's going to easily be able to follow up. There's not much people can really do against it, and that is going to be probably the cornerstone of Maya Street's composition here, how well they play around that Liang and the picks that's able to offer here. Whereas the side of Warlemy, their composition's a little bit in the air now that gonna have a bit of a redraft, so it's gonna be interesting to see what they opt to pick up.
Yeah, we saw a lot for their secret picks, but we still didn't see a lot of. We didn't see the Chow Chow. We still didn't see the Guan Yu, the Liang, as you said. On the other side, we still didn't see the Yixing. We still didn't see the Zhangfei or the Formless pick, the Gugudzu pick.
Yeah, so these bands are going to be exactly the same as last time, and the first picks are going to be the same as well, too, as we see Diadea. No, it was Diadea that got picked up. I thought Liang got picked up.
Yeah,
they pick up both.
Diadea, but we hope we see the counter for the Liang from the Team Warlemy. We hope. But we're gonna go
I think
to
they
HoK.
hovered it, which put it into my mind. But instead of the Flowborn Marksman, War actually ends up picking up the Long, and that's a great replacement as well too. Another very solid marksman, one of the most consistent ones here. Let's see how Maya rounds out their composition now. They had some picks they had in the past, but now they are able to change the picks up because it was only going to be left off to where that Flowborn Marksman was picked.
Yeah, exactly. The long pick is one of the best picks against the idea since he doesn't have any mobility skills, and he gave the third skill to just push her away, and when she tried to grab him, and you have your ult to be usually safe if you're like really close to die.
Yeah, Maya ends, and it looks like Maya's opting to this time take the Arlie. Last time they had the Renji, if I'm correct. I can't quite remember, or I don't think their marksman was picked yet, but this time their marksman definitely picked, and it's going to be Arlie there, as well as the Lady Jen. The three ladies on the side of Maya here, some of the strongest heroes in the game, where War goes for the tried and true Zhang Fei Yi Jing. You know, you can't go wrong with that bread and butter combo, and it seems like Warlim love picking these more combo-centric, synergy-focused compositions.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't expect the Maya team to play the early since we saw the Eren, we saw the Chan, we saw some Flowborn from them. We thought maybe it's early is maybe not their play style, but we see the Long, we see the Zhangfei, because we didn't expect any pick from the team Walimi. They just played the Marco Polo early every game since they have the high potential to carry, and Long is also the carry, but it's kind of late game hero.
When the enemy gives you cake, you gotta eat it, right? When they give you the Arlie and it's not banned, you gotta pick it up, and Maya does pick it up this game here. We see the Futsu getting banned out as well as the Young Juan, so both sides opting to ban out some Clash laners here, potentially, because neither of them have any picked. We are probably gonna see a Dharma come out. Dharma was picked first rotation from Maya last game. This time they opt to go something like the Arlie instead, but it looks like War is banning some interesting picks, banning out something like the Kaiser. They don't want to give them the Dolia Kaiser combo maybe, but they already have Diadea picked. So it seems like Ward doesn't want to go against any of these late game heroes like the Futsu and the Kaiser.
Yeah, probably they feel because they already picked the Diadea, they need some tank, and probably Kaiser is one of the annoying tank to play against, so they decided to ban it. And we see the early, probably, I would assume they picked the early now, since it's the final already and you can show all your picks, and it's still a good pick against the Long in the laning phase, and after the late game, you still can one-shot him before he one-shot you, that's the thing.
Absolutely, and we see the Ying getting banned out as well too. Interesting stuff, but Ying has seen a good amount of representation from SFT actually, funny enough. So it's interesting that Maya bans that out. We are seeing the Fatih likely to get locked in for War. As we mentioned, it's another all-around solid pick. It's kind of good at everything, you know, doesn't have too many weaknesses here. Great laner, great scaler, a good split pushing potential. They're really thinking about it here on War, but I can't imagine they're going to lock in anything else. It's either Fatih or the Dharma is going to be picked up here. And Maya, instead of responding with Dharma, maybe gets the original Byron here and chooses Byron himself for one of the most classic Clash lane matchups.
Yeah, exactly. And the Fatih pick, I could say is really good actually, since we play against Lady Jen. You can cancel a stun, you play against Diadea, still you can cancel a stun, but your goal always to kill the early.
Yeah, it could be a great diver for that. And speaking of divers, Masashi being considered here for Maya, and it does get locked in. Masashi, one of those picks that does not come out too often again, kind of like the Dan Wei we were mentioning yesterday, right? But when it comes out, it usually performs pretty well. And being able to get that duel to the death onto something like the Zhang Fei and the Fatih, reducing their healing and taking them out before they could get all that health back could be pivotal. And Masashi, one of the best at applying pressure early. Once they get that ultimate, they're able to get the duel to death, knock up the opponents, and force ganks. And if teams are not ready for it and they miss position, they will give away a lot of kills early game to Masashi and let him snowball. Also, if I'm correct, Masashi just got buffed as well too. So we're seeing a little bit more damage that's going to be coming out from Masashi.
Yeah, exactly. Masashi is one of the best picks to play against the Long, to play against the Yixing, and even the Zhangfei, since you can just anti-heal him and try to kill him. But you're playing also against the Minky, which is one of the hardest counters for the Musashi, and it's gonna be a hard time for him in the side lane. But maybe you see some rotation from the early Diadea trying to go for the Minky, since Musashi can't 1v1 him.
Yeah, Masashi usually counters heroes that heal a lot, and Mankey, while he does heal a little bit, he's more known for his shielding, right? And Masashi doesn't do anything to reduce shielding, so that's going to give Mankey a pretty strong matchup in the 1v1 if that ever does come up. But I wager Maya's Masashi is going to try to land their duel to the death on some more squishy targets throughout this game. As you see, a typical start from both sides, no real invades coming out, both junglers just doing their own Azure Golem here and letting the lanes do what they gotta do.
Yeah, especially in the early game, you need to always play for the small camps so you can just hide your gold before the dragon fights. But I would assume the Byron will go tank since they don't have any frontliner here, since they have Diadia, they have Musashi. But I don't say the Musashi is really good in the face checking some bushes.
Yeah, and it's interesting to see Arlie actually start in bot lane. Usually when you have Arlie, teams have this funnel strategy with her by giving her mid farm and then giving her some jungle as well. But this is one of the most traditional games we've seen yet, right? Everyone just kind of went to their lanes and they're duking it out versus their counterparts.
Yeah, exactly. Probably they didn't want to go mid since they already have a winning matchup. And there is no better than going against the long since it's scary. So lowering the long gold is maybe the best move now.
Yijing making some aggressive plays, flashing over that wall to try and kind of find something. Unfortunately, it was not found, but I like the idea. I like the aggression there to try and apply as much pressure as possible and to give their team a lead here and break out of this kind of early game stalemate from both sides.
Yeah, probably Yijing realized that the long is losing his camp, so trying to help him a little bit since the Ali Diadia is very famous for being one of the strongest laners. Even though you have the Zhangfei, you still can do anything against Ali Diadia.
Yes, Masashi does end up showing middle, so that allows War to go ahead and apply more pressure down in this bot lane here to try and deny as much farm from the Arlie as possible. We have not seen Masashi really go for any ganks. He's just kind of helping out lanes, clearing these waves, and getting himself some farm before he applies any duel to the deaths. You usually want to see Masashi roam with the mid laner so that they can take everything out at once. But War, look at this. All this pressure is being applied on the bottom tier 1 tower here. Yijing has basically been almost permanently here since he got his level 4. Drops a board down to zone away the Arlie and ensuring that the Arlie does not have a good time this game.
Yeah, exactly. It's a hard time for the Arlie and Yedin to play the lane since he already can faster push the mid wave, and Lady Jen is known for a very low pushing skills, so he's just taking priority there. Maybe just stay bot and give the way for the Minky. Their only goal now to put the Arlie behind.
We go Fatih and Byron having a little bit of a 1v1 here. Byron does definitely have the advantage in the early game here, but Fatih later on is going to be able to put up a pretty decent fight. Monkey has just been farming up the idea, trying to push him away as War is going to encroach onto the jungle of Maya here, knowing that that Crimson Golem is up. They try for it, but again, they're a little bit nervous. This is match point. They end up backing up. They don't want to overcommit to something they're not too sure about here, as Fatih and Byron still kind of wailing at each other there, with Byron having a bit of priority in the lane.
Yeah, exactly. And we see already a 1k gold lead from Maya without getting any kills, without getting anything. They're just taking the camps. And this really shows how is the Ali and Diadia strong, and they shown the Byron getting some prize on the Clash lane, but both teams now preparing for the objectives.
Here we go, objectives coming up in 20 seconds, and we always say this is what kind of dictates the pace of the game. I think last game was like the only game where a team that got the first Tyrant lost, so it's a pretty good win rate if you can get the first Tyrant here coming up in 5 seconds. It looks like War has a bit of better positioning on it, as the Yijing has been helping out bottom the entire time to keep the Arlie under tower. And here we go, a steal coming out potentially? No, steal does not go through, but good attempt from the Lady Jen there. They were relatively safe to fire those abilities over the wall and get an attempt off, but very diligent smiting from the Monkey does deny that attempt. They are down a little bit of gold, but they're up to Tyrant and they opt to trade the Overlord. I would say this is a super even game so far.
Yeah, exactly. Even though the team might have some gold lead in the early game, they didn't find themselves in the position to fight for the dragon. So one of the best moves you can do is just trade. You know, we saw some teams just don't do anything, which is not really good for the early game. But at least Team Maya, they know they have some gold lead. You can't fight not best for the position, so you just go for the Slayer.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the trade. You're not going to be able to get the Tyrant every single time. Sure, it's optimal if you can get it, but if you can't, it's better to, take the other objective. It's not as strong, but it will deny the enemy some gold when you take the Overlord here, because it consolidates the minions onto one dragon here, and over time they do lose a little bit of gold. It's better than nothing. It could be seen as a decent scaling one if you are able to guard your jungle against the firepower that comes with the Tyrant. But look at this. Look at this. Lady Jen potentially walking into an ambush here, getting dropped super low. Yijing gets cut through his passive and goes down. It looks like they were not the one ambushing. They were the ones getting ambushed, as everyone from Maya actually ends up collapsing on War there, trying to catch him out.
Yeah, they tried to get the bot lane tower, but looks like Yijing was caught off position there. Probably since none of them stayed in the mid lane vision, so they didn't have the river vision. It was a little bit aggressive to play there, but probably they...
Oh, look at this. Monkey, every member of Maya feels like is hitting him at the same time. He's so durable, but you can only take so much focused fire from 4 members at once, especially with Masashi dashing in and out there to kind of, stop all your dream roams there, to eat that dream roam, so you're not able to go ahead and fully jump away. The Azure Golem being taken out. War is doing a good job of securing their jungle. They are losing, but they're not losing that much right now. So if they're able to find something, they could still turn the game. They're down about 2,000, almost 3,000, about 2,000 gold here. They're down. So it is still very winnable if they get a good fight going.
Yeah, exactly. Even though they got the kill and the Minky, you still saw the Fetih taking the top tower alone, so we got a lot of gold probably. And we're gonna see if, since looks like the Ali trying to switch and they're trying to switch lanes to play for the clash lane, probably their goal just to take towers for now.
Yeah, very narrow board comes out there. If that caught anyone, it was for sure a death sentence there. But since it's so narrow, it's going to be a little bit hard to land. Everyone on Maya ends up avoiding it. I've yet to see many great duel to the death catches here. This is one of the most passive games from both teams. Both teams opting to just kind of farm and wait, and they're trying to look for really good opportunities. But since they're both very, very strong teams, they're not going to really give each other those picture-perfect scenarios to engage a fight from. Long just picked up his Master Sword here, so there's going to be a big spike for Long. Could this be a good time to make any sort of engagement here from both sides?
Yeah, that's the problem we're playing against. Musashi was probably they picked Musashi since he can also block the first of the Long, since it's his main damage to do the damage with the first. We have the Ali also can block his first, and maybe you see a team fight here.
A super long range Unbridled Outburst comes out and it does not connect, unfortunately there. Both teams, look at this. They try to fight a little bit and then they back away because they know what is at stake here. One big mistake can completely crush their momentum this game. So they're playing a little bit coy, a little bit timid on both sides here. They don't want to give anything away they're not supposed to. Oh man, look at that. The absolute juggle onto the Long there. The Byron skill to knock up into the duel to the death. The Long was basically killed before he can even react and move his character there, it felt like. And this is the tempo that you see once one mistake gets made here. Maya takes 3 kills and now they're pushing a tier 2. They're 6-0. They're looking a lot like last game here now. They're trying to have it end a little bit differently though, as they're up 5,000 gold at 8 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Probably they didn't expect the Musashi flank, and it was already close the range with the Long, and the mid tower already was low, so it was really bad position there to fight. But they lost 2 towers, and that's gonna open the map a little bit for the Maya team, and probably they could take some advantage from it.
Yeah, and now they take the Tyrant as well too and leave the rest of the jungle for Arlie to go ahead and clean up. It's really hard to react to what happened there, right? The Long was under tower and Byron comes out of nowhere and knocks him up, and before you know it, he's kind of dead. It's a Long, if you don't get a chance to input your ultimate, you're not going to get away. And that seems to be the strategy from Maya, to lock down that Long for so long that he doesn't get a chance to input his ultimate and fly away with the infinite vastness.
Yeah, exactly, and we might see a fight here since they all collapsed on the Byron since he was alone.
Byron is alone. He is trying to get away here. Unbridled Outburst secures the KO, as well as pushing a few members into the wall. 3-man crucial crowd control coming in from Zhang Fei. This could be what War needs to turn this around. But no, the Lady Jen and the Arlie damage is just so high, especially when you have the duel to the death on top of the Zhang Fei, not allowing him to come back here. Full fight breaks out. Long actually ends up going in with the infinite vastness, which was a little bit of a mistake, as he immediately gets dispatched by Lady Jen upon landing. And Maya is starting to kind of run away with his game here. I don't want to jinx it because they were this ahead, if not more ahead last game, and they ended up losing. But this game is looking firmly in Maya's favor so far at the 9-minute mark.
Yeah, it was an easy kill on the Byron, but they kind of waste a lot of skills there on him. And actually the team Maya follow up very fast that the team War couldn't even react to it.
Yeah, just like that, that's 2 high grounds, and War's base is now going to be hemorrhaging minions for the entirety of the game. 11 kills to 1. War needs a miracle to come back from this. We've seen it before. Last game, they needed a miracle to come back, and they actually did. So they need to pull that rabbit out of the hat once again if they want a chance at claiming first place here. They're down 10,000 gold at 10 minutes. This is even more behind than last game now. It is up to Maya to not make the same mistakes and War to find that same miracle once again.
Yeah, exactly. And it feels more like you don't need to do anything. You just need the enemy to do some mistakes. Since you're already 10k behind, maybe 11k or maybe 12k, it's really hard to go back from this game. And you also have Dolong. It's a late game hero, but you're also playing against early, you're playing against Musashi, so most of them can block your skill. Even the Lady Jin, if she buys some Splendor, she will be fine.
Absolutely. War is kind of just trapped in their base now because they're going to be hemorrhaging those elite minions constantly now. This is going to give Maya the chance to take the Overlord if they want to. They opt to play it safe. They don't want to brute force it down with the Primal Bond because that's usually when throws happen, is when people try to take objectives with the Primal Bond. They're going to play it safe, wait it out, keep War in their base by clearing off these waves, maybe try to pressure this final high ground tower. We all know what happens when 3 high ground towers are down. Lots of super powerful minions are going to be rushing into your base. As a fight breaks out, they try to get a catch onto Monkey here. He gets dropped to half. We still have the duel to death available if they do want to force an engagement here, but it looks like they're just kind of playing around the base of War. Zhongfei jumps in, tries to make a hero play against 4 or 5, almost gets taken down for that. Everyone aside Maya is a little bit softened up, and out of nowhere, while Long gets one-shotted by the Arlie, it feels like. And just like that, the tower is down, and this could be the end of the game for War here. 4 members down. Zhongfei is the only one left alive here. He was left on 1 HP, and he is not going to be able to use his full HP as Maya with a very decisive victory here in this final game. They said, we are not throwing anymore. This time we learned from our mistakes. With 8,000 gold lead's not enough, fine. We'll get a 12,000 gold lead then, okay? And then they win this finals 15 to 2 kills, if I'm correct. I don't think anyone can dispute that Maya goes ahead and wins that game there. Absolutely beautifully and masterfully played finals from Maya Street.
Yeah, Maya definitely deserved the win. They could say they dominated 3 games from the early game to mid game to late game. They did some mistake in the second game that punished them, that they even made them lose the game, but they still really did the best, and they almost played perfectly.
Yeah, the early game momentum from the Maya has been unmatched in this circuit, it seems like, and it shows in the results as they are crowned our winners here of the KCS. Congratulations to Team Maya and all their players. They will be taking home a hefty $1,800, almost $1,900 USD cash prize, and what a game to do it on too here, right? Look at this. Look at all the S's on the side of Maya Street here. Everyone getting SS, other than Byron. Poor Byron, they always forget about the Clash laners here. Hey, he had the front line for the team, okay? Not everyone can get a beautiful KDA, all right? Someone has to hold it down, has to be the one that dives in there first and takes the brunt of the damage, all right? As a Clash laner myself, I'm a little bit sad that Clash laners are not getting the recognition they deserve. But once again, congratulations to Maya Street, and absolutely amazing performance from Warlim as well, to getting second place. They're taking home a good amount of change themselves, and they had one of the best comebacks I've ever seen in competitive.
Yeah, you can give Byron some credit for the 2 last fights. He was the tank of the team. He tanked most of the damage, and as we said before, they have the Diadia, they have the Musashi. It's not like a face checker hero, but the Byron one tank, and he could take almost all the damage.
Yeah, and he's opting. He's there not to do damage. He's there to shield with that ultimate and then knock people up with that skill too, right? He even opted to go that Glacial Buckler. Not something you see on Byron too often, but he's building it to get as much cooldown as possible to set up his team. He knows he's not going to be the star of this game. Any game Arlie's in, she's always going to be the star. This is how Honor of Kings goes, right? So he played a little bit of a backseat there, played a tank, did his job, and that's very, very commendable. But here is a final look at the brackets here. Congratulations to all the teams that made it. All 4 teams here are winners, just some more than others. And thank you for everyone that participated, as well as all the teams for the amazing performances for us to go ahead and cast over here, and all the entertainment that goes into setting up a production like this.
Yeah, thank you everyone for watching, and we see Maya in the first place, we see Team Warlimi at the second place, we see Team very good, actually they did good against Team SFT with the third place, and we see Team SFT in the fourth place. And that's the thing, if you're ahead in this game, you can just do your thing. Even if you do some mistakes, you have a lot of gold, the enemy can punish you for it. But if you're behind in gold, every small mistake or detail really matters.
And while winning matters, you know what really matters, Zenon? That you guys have fun, okay? Make sure to get on the Honor Kings, have some fun, play with the people you like, play with your friends here. And that's what the campus series is all about, playing with your friends and peers in the university, and then competing. And then along the way, you get to get some cash prizes and some pro experience as well. If you want to later go down that route and be a professional player, this is a great stepping stone as well too here. But that is going to conclude the KCS. We're wrapping up now, and it looks like we're drawing some of the giveaway winners very soon too. So if you have not already, do the exclamation point giveaway in chat for your chance to win a gift card, as well as there's also some other giveaways where you can win an iPhone 15 Pro Max, which is going to be interesting. So make sure to follow the description and the links in chat to have a chance to go ahead and win that here. But what an amazing series, and looking forward to the next one for sure. Make sure if you guys have a university, have some peers that play Honor Kings, go check out the KCS, join the Discord, see how you can get involved, and then play. And maybe one day we can cast some of your games on here, me and Zenon.
Yeah, exactly. You don't have to be the best at the game. You don't have to make it to the pro. You can just have some friends, 4 players, just make a group, just play some games for fun. If you really feel you're good, just give it a try. You're not going to lose anything. You can win some cash prize. You can have some fun with your friends.
Yeah, and that's the great thing about the Honor King circuits. There's so many circuits for every level of play here, from the amateur level to the intermediate to the pro. They really guide you along the way to becoming a pro player in Honor Kings here. Probably one of the best franchises I've seen do it there. You can start off with the community tournaments, slowly work your way up. We did the New Kings, we did the KCS last year as well too. So lots of opportunity for you guys that love Honor Kings. And even if you just want to watch, we're rewarding you guys with some giveaways as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way of it. That's the way of esports. You just start small. If it's usually the community tournaments is to test your performance, see how you can do. Because after all, there is some pressure on you when you play some competitive. There is you need to see your limit. You need to see how you're gonna do. It's not that easy, but it's really giving a chance.
Even though Warlim, did not take home the win, they did not get that first place there. They had probably one of the most memorable games, right? That comeback was so amazing to watch, and that should inspire you guys. I'm personally not a big fan of surrendering in Honor Kings personally, right? And I never surrender in any games I play, and that reason is why Warlim was down so much, and they were able to come back. And as Zenon said, it's the worst when you lose a winning game, but it is the best when you win a losing game and get such an amazing comeback. What an impressive show Warlim put on. They were not able to take home the crown there, but they get second place and a very solid honorable mention from me for such an amazing performance in that game.
Yeah, exactly. If the crystal isn't destroyed, they always have a chance to win. So as we saw from the team Morlimi with the insane comeback, actually from 10k gold or 12k gold, it's really insane. Even though they didn't lose the towers, but it was really hard to pull up it from the game like that.
Yeah, hopefully everyone enjoyed this format here. And if you guys enjoy any of these circuits and all of the Honor Kings esports action, make sure to support the streams, drop some likes on them, support the players if you see them, and support Honor Kings in general so that we can provide more of this content in the future. You can always check out Zenon at Zenon Mid as well too. He streams on YouTube a good amount. You can also check me out at Yumu's Live as well. We're both streamers here. We play Honor Kings as well as other stuff sometimes here. So make sure to support everyone in the ecosystem. Big shout out to all the people in production that helped get this underway as well too, as we're getting ready to announce the winners. Last call, guys. All right, before we end it off here, make sure you guys join up.
Exactly, it's a really good environment. You just try to support your creators, just try to enjoy the game, try to make some friends. If you like esport, just watch the esport. If you want to be a pro, you can make it to a pro. You can just give it a try. That's the environment you want, just like a friendly, competitive environment.
Absolutely. And I'm going to be looking forward to the next KCS that's coming up next year too, the campus series. One of the funnest series to watch because while it is fun to watch the highest level of play, there's something about when players are kind of just starting off and breaking into the scene. You get to see some interesting picks. Like we saw SFT, while they didn't have much success, unfortunately, in the top 4, they made it to the top 4, which is very impressive. And they did it while playing some of their most comfortable and favorite heroes, right? They're playing stuff like the Alessio, and great picks like that, which is going to be amazing to always see. And this is not something that you could see in the other leagues.
Yeah, exactly. And usually you can take some experience. You can just learn from mistakes. Even though the team Maya City is the winner, they can learn from the mistakes they did in the second game. For the teams they lost, they can just review the game and have a look. Maybe they could have a better champion pools. Maybe they can just play more meta heroes. They can just learn from it basically.
Yeah, and speaking of heroes, we have a new hero coming up too. Chicha, you know, we saw all those ads on it. It's not here yet, I think, but once it comes out, that's going to be very exciting. And another thing about KCS is usually when a new hero comes out, it's immediately available. You know, some other circuits and formats, they ban it for a week or two as players get ready for it. So on the next KCS, if a new hero is available, we get to usually see it immediately. KCS and New Kings and all these, more amateur formats here, they allow you to see all the new stuff first. That was when we first saw the Spritelings come into play, which is amazing. And speaking of Spritelings, there's going to be some new Spritelings coming out that I'm very, very excited for as well. But yeah, we're gonna get ready for closing here. Make sure you guys join the giveaway once it is announced. You will need to go ahead and join the Discord and contact the moderators to get your prize. So good luck to all the contestants. Good luck to everyone watching. Thank you guys for supporting Honor of Kings Esports as well as the KCS series. I look forward to seeing you guys in the next one here. But that's going to be it for now. This is me, Phil Yumus here, and Zenon signing out. Any closing remarks, Zenon?
Yeah, thank you so much everyone for watching. Thank you for the production team. Thank you so much, Yumas. It was a really good experience to be casting with this tournament. I learned a lot from you. You're the GOAT for me. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Zenon. Thank you for the kind words. But yeah, everyone here is the GOAT for supporting Honor of Kings. Thank you guys all for watching. We're going to go for closing now, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye, everyone.